Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Sesh. I am Kendall.
And I am Johnelle.
And joining us today is the fabulous Alyssa Sharpe.
The beautiful, the fabulous,
yes,
the amazing.
Naming all the things. Astrologist, numerologist, YouTuber, TikToker, podcaster.
What else?
What other things?
Missing?
Mother.
I don't know. I'm so nervous. You just made me so nervous. No, you just gave me all these things that I am, and I was like, oh my God.
You are all those things.
I am all those things. Thank you. That's really nice. I'm also a mediocre painter.
Oh, really?
You paint?
I didn't know
Yes.
that.
You can go on my Instagram. I just painted the High Priestess.
Oh, fun.
I didn't know that you paint.
I grew up. My artistry is my first love. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You were just saying that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's where all this comes from, is the fact that it's all art for me.
Yeah, this
We
is
are
all really art.
So
We're
happy to
artists,
have
too.
you on.
I'm like,
Yes, we are.
Oh
We are.
my God.
You guys have no idea. I first started watching Alyssa almost 10 years ago. We were just calculating. And I started watching you because my parents were getting divorced. I was trying to understand that shit. And I started Googling, trying to understand their signs. And your videos started popping up. And I remember watching one of your videos on my phone, laying in bed in college. It was like sophomore year.
oh my God.
And you've taught me so much. You taught me like everything I know about astrology.
I love that.
I'm serious.
I know, it's so great. The best thing about this, and I didn't even know until I came in here earlier, was that you're like one of my first fans.
I am the first fan. And I turned all of these guys onto your videos.
We've been watching you for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because May 4th, 2012 was when I started. So that's my 10-year anniversary.
Okay, so
We've
I
been
was
here
in
since the
August of
start.
2012. So
Wow.
we were right around the same time.
When did you guys actually become like internet friends?
We were just trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know the exact year. I think it might have been 2014.
Somewhere around there. That sounds right to me.
Because I had this is my thing, like I just got to tell Kendall, is that I had a big spike in subscribers and I didn't really know where it was coming from. I was like, okay, this is cool. Something's happening. And then all of a sudden I kept getting comments like, Kendall Rae sent me here. Kendall Rae sent me here. And I was like, who is Kendall Rae? And I went over, found you. I had to put you on YouTube. And then I was like, oh my God, I love you. And then I reached out to you and I was like, thank you for like the shout out. And I had to find the videos too that you shouted out. And then I was like, oh, you did astrology videos.
Yeah.
So
I tried to make a little series. And
yes,
yeah,
you did.
I'm sure some of you guys remember that. But yeah, I basically was like, I only know so much. My knowledge goes pretty much as far as the sun signs, 12 sun signs. Knew a little bit about the moons, how that worked kind of from you. But I would just refer people. I was like, if you want anything more, I'm not giving it to you. So this is when you go to Alyssa.
Yeah. No, that's like so sweet because people then were just like, tell me more about stuff. And then I think your people sent me over, or that you sent over, wanted more from me, which I was like, oh, this is interesting. You want all this stuff from me now?
Yeah.
Like, that was cool.
And gosh, how many videos do you think you've made over the years on astrology?
On astrology, a lot.
Gotta be so many because you have whole playlists on every element.
And people are always like now, because they'll find me, because astrology has grown so much. I guess we can talk about that whole scenario. But I get comments like, have you made a video on this? And I'm like, yeah.
You're like,
bitch.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
I
please.
got a whole life.
Yeah. Like, just go over there right now. Like, stop wasting my time. I do other things now.
That's interesting that you say astrology's grown because it really does feel like that. And I was wondering if that's just me. But when I first started getting into it, I don't remember there was many people to watch from. I remember thinking it was kind of niche.
Yes.
Like even when I made videos about it, people were like,
I feel like even when I would just, not that I'm like an expert or anything, but even when I just started talking about like that I have an interest in it, people were like, the fuck?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I'm a Taurus. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, well, if you want to take it seriously, but
and even on Twitter, like it's just grown so much.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like people on average, they know their sun sign now.
They do. And most of them, they know their moon and their rising. Like a lot of people do.
And that's called the big three, right?
The big three, they call it, yeah. And yeah, it's a kind of a surreal experience because when I started, not only, and you know this because we were talking, but I don't know why I keep bringing up that we were talking because now we're here still talking. But I want to, we've been talking for so long. That's why I'm a little bit like, what have we discussed? Where am I? I don't know anything. I'm a Pisces rising, so that means something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, what was I gonna say now? Oh, the OG YouTuber stuff. Like when we started YouTube, even though like you were doing blogging and I was doing astrology, we were pretty hardcore made fun of.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't cool.
No, it wasn't cool.
It wasn't cool. So like when
I hid it from everyone in my life.
Yes, you hid it. I hid it. As soon as I started telling people, it was a very, there's a lot of pressure, like friends and family just like making fun of me for what I was doing. And on top of that, I was also doing astrology, which was also either evil or people made fun of it. So
yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. Why was it evil?
Well, a lot of in church sects, like Catholic Church, Christianity, all that, it was considered to be
sacrilegious.
Sacrilegious.
That's interesting. It's not has nothing really to do with religion.
I used to make videos about it, and then a lot of people who were into astrology didn't understand why I cared. And I was like, because I grew up in a Christian church.
Oh,
so I did care. Like, it was something that I really had to pull myself out of to even be able to look into astrology, because I felt evil doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like for me, my personal story is to get from Christian to understanding spirituality in a completely different way. And that's not everybody who's into astrology. And especially now, like a lot of kids who are into astrology now, they didn't grow up in church, or they weren't like really into it. But I was like really into church.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. I was really into it.
Really?
That's why I'm still very, very spiritual, but people are always kind of weirded out when I get into like my spiritual modes, because they're like, you're the astrologer that says fuck a lot. I say fuck.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
We
say fuck a lot here.
Yeah.
It is our favorite word.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I do love astrology, and I love saying fuck a lot. You can call it a coincidence or whatever, but I do know this about myself, is that there were no fun videos about astrology anywhere. And YouTube was around for, a while at that point, like 6 years or something. Yeah. But there's a lot of viral videos, but then there's certain channels, like we were talking about Blair Fowler, Al Fowler, like and then the OGs like Jenna Marbles, Shane Dawson, like they're all out there making channels. And I was on there looking for astrology because I had been into it for about 5 years, and I was like, what's some videos going like?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anybody except I did find some talking heads, like with some stars behind them.
Yes.
Like,
I know exactly what
Are you talking about those two dudes?
Yes.
Those guys are iconic.
Yeah.
They have a sweater. One of them had a sweater.
I think Rick Levine.
Maybe.
I think he was one of them, because he's still like,
they had like a whole
legit.
little show.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
That was like one of the only other channels though.
Yeah. And that's
one
the only
of them
one
had an actual sweater with like
stars.
And,
yeah.
Damn, that's
and
really amazing.
I kind of just looked at it and was like, well,
how can I make this?
Yeah. Like I think that if I can't find it, and I knew this about, I don't know, is an entrepreneurial spirit. That like if you are looking for something that's not there, maybe you should see if you should do it.
That's exactly right.
So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so I made a video teaching some astrology, and no one really saw it. And then I went back to the drawing board and was like, well, when I talk to people about astrology, they talk about their least favorite signs, like the ones that they hate.
That's so true.
Yeah. And so
people
I was like,
love to talk about their most favorite signs.
And so I was like, maybe people will Google these, because that's what you could Google shit back in the day, and it would take you to a YouTube video, the way that everything worked. So I just did like what I hate about Virgos, and people responded to it, and I was like, ooh, like that's weird. That's kind of cool. So even though I was getting made fun of for being a YouTuber and an astrologer, in my main life, in my online life, I was starting to like feed into something. And pretty soon there are a bunch of different astrology channels coming up, like pop astrology. That's what it really was. It's like pop astrology.
What does that necessarily mean?
Like pop music. Like astrology was very limited to older people, like mystics, witches, all that stuff. And then it was like, wait.
Kind of like mainstreamed it.
Yeah, like I just
millennialized
I gave me and my friend were talking about this. The problem is now, I think, is I gave a blueprint, and that's the same blueprint everybody continues to use because nobody's really evolved it past then.
Yeah.
We've just simplified it more for like TikTok. But at the same time, like what pop astrology is kind of came from those earlier videos of mine where I was like, well, fuck this sign and the stupid shit that it does. Like this dumbass
but
Virgo.
You'd go after everyone's sign.
Yeah.
And that's why I loved your videos so much. They felt so real.
Because every sign
had
right.
And every there's good and bad for every sign. That's just how it is. It's the balance of astrology.
Yes, it is. And it's beautiful because there's good things too.
Yeah.
When I had to do a what I love about your sign, and I remember a lot of comments were like, you can tell she's faking this one and that she was real in the other one.
I remember reading some of those.
And I was like, I don't know. It's a lot. It is a lot. It's not as funny to get out there and be like, I really love Cancers because they're sweet and they're warm and they're
it's
kind.
not as funny.
It's much funnier to be like, well, Cancers are all whores.
Yeah. Not to offend the Cancers out there.
Yeah. See, I didn't want people, when I made my little astrology series, I didn't want people to be like upset at me. But I had a lot of things that I held back that I wanted to say.
That's why your series on that actually it's a pretty iconic series, and no, because it's like you had a lot of views and you could have gone that way, but you didn't. You went a different route, which is very interesting considering people have probably used your videos and you don't realize to create their own blueprint and to do,
or just copying them completely.
Yes, or copy. Yes, because it's like that's what people did.
Lottery.
When you can simplify astrology the way that we did in our own separate ways, which was beautiful. And I loved about your videos, they were different than mine, was that all of a sudden you taught people and then they're like, oh, I can put this out too. And then they just regurgitate because they don't realize that you picked up this information from your own life experience, observation, study. Yeah. You weren't regurgitating it from a book. I was not. I was like, everything I knew about astrology was like meeting a bunch of random people.
That's what I would try to do. I would literally sit down and like write down the people I knew in that sign, and then I would just talk about them.
Yep. Same.
And it's weird how it lines up just perfectly.
It does.
It makes me think there's something to it.
Exactly. That's why I was like, I know astrology is real because everything I'm saying is because I lumped all you asses together. And like, so I've never met an Aquarius that wasn't like this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting.
That's what really got me is, of course, like I said, my parents were getting divorced and looking at their charts and thinking like, wow, this really makes sense. And looking at everyone else. Because you can hear your own sign lightly and just be like, oh yeah, I kind of fit those.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's real. But then when you start looking at everyone else in your life and you're like, wow, like this is too accurate. It's almost scary.
Yeah. That is true. It is hard to pull in information into your own being and self. Actually, it's probably why me being a Libra made sense, because Libras are like this observational creature, like really cares about what other people are doing to see how they can fit into that. And so finding astrology was just very much like, oh, this helps me. Now I know that you're a Leo, so I'll just go act more like a Leo to hang out with you. And to like start embodying that energy of how they are. And I'm also a Pisces rising, which is like a chameleon. I like to just not be me. It's like being me is like this. It's a whole other thing. So I would be like, okay, so I would do that. And I did that for about like 5 years just with my own astrology stuff. And then so I started to put it into the videos. But I loved it about other people. Like, this is why this person did that.
Totally.
Yes.
Yes.
You understand things.
Yep. Yes. Like this.
That's what it really was for me.
Yeah. You're like, and it makes the dirt roll off your shoulders a lot easier. You're like,
yes.
Yeah. This Aquarius or Sagittarius has a God complex. So that's why they totally threw me under the bus. I get it. I'm not happy with it,
but it makes sense.
It makes sense. It was their natural inclination.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. I was in a sorority at the time I started watching your videos, and I clashed a lot with a lot of the people in there, like a good 50% of them. And
I can't believe you're in a sorority.
I know. I had some challenges, but seriously, it was like
you
a chill sorority.
Okay. Like
this is like in farm town. Like it was just, there wasn't anything else going on at the school.
It was really small. Yeah, nothing else to do.
Yeah, it was not. It's how I met my best friend Sydney over here.
Yeah, she's also
hello. Yeah, so I met some really cool people, but I think astrology really helped me because when someone would do something or they would act, and I was just like, this person is so fucking annoying, and then I'd look at their chart and I'm like, oh my god, this makes sense now. It was helpful.
Yeah, no, it is. It is helpful.
It is like a guide to the world. I felt like I had glasses and I could see everyone in a different way.
That's why I always think of it as, it's not like the end all be all. You don't have to follow astrology. It's just a map. It's like you're driving your car and you could try to sense which roads to take down.
Right.
But if you had a map or, your phone.
GPS,
because we're older now and technology is a thing. And you just pull out your phone and it tells you where to go. You're like, okay, that makes more sense. And then it's quicker. Yeah. And you're more inclined to like move quicker throughout life because of astrology. And I do think like life has gotten quicker. So astrology is picked up as well because people realize that. Because you don't have to have me explain that to you for you to have already understood that that's exactly what it does.
Yes.
Like this is, it just makes more sense. Yep. Or like this person has a bunch of Virgo in them. And so I kind of need to understand that all that Virgo energy is going to clash with me a lot. And they're going to nitpick me a lot. And it's going to really hurt my feelings. And I'm not going to be able to get over it. So I understand that about myself. So I'm going to stay away from that.
Interesting, yeah.
Which can help you then with any sort of relationship. Which me saying that could sound bad, but it's not. It's like protecting yourself if you understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That makes complete sense.
I've always thought of it as kind of like a type of art, because it's people. I feel like a lot of people who aren't into it at all think of it's like a religion, and it's really not.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost to me like an art. It's either like you appreciate the art or the language, or you don't, and that's fine.
It makes sense because I grew up. I was an artist. That's what we were talking about. Like I was a painter. Like, and I drew all the time and wrote poems and like had a really deep inner life, you know, like didn't have a lot of friends, just like made art. And when I got older, I was like, there's no way I can do anything with this art. Like, what can I do? I can go on Etsy. And they're like, being a millennial in my 20s, there was the things that were popping up, YouTube, Etsy, MLMs like crazy. All my friends were like in MLMs, like message, like friending me, and I'm like, oh, this person wants to be my friend. Oh, fuck, they don't.
No. That's
they want your wallet to be their friend.
Yeah, like, oh, you're gonna recruit me? Oh no, I'd rather. No, I don't know. Like, I never could get into that. I was like, my mom sold Mary Kay for a little bit, and
Kendall sold Mary Kay for a little bit.
I didn't actually sell it.
No, I'm just kidding.
I thought it was just
you hosted a little Mary Kay party. That was fun.
for you and my aunt. Yeah, I did it for less than 30 days, and then I realized it was an MLM. And
that was so fun though. Like my mom did. I like the little makeover parties, but she would. I also had like social anxiety, and she would have these parties at her house, and I'd have to like help her with stuff, and I'd be like. I'd be like, are you stupid? I was really shy, which is weird now, but I was very shy.
I was like very, very shy as a kid, like really scared. I was scared of like even going over to her house, which we lived like 10 minutes away from each other. I was so shy. And now I'm like, I'm definitely an introvert, but I am outgoing and I can like turn
adaptable.
it on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Since I'm probably having a Leo, I think of the Leo child in my life, Johnelle, and she was literally terrified of everything and so shy, but that seems kind of not Leo-y.
Well, okay, so Johnelle, this is the big thing. We can go into your chart for a second. Johnelle has a Virgo rising, and that puts her Sun and Mercury in the 12th house, which is a very introverted house. It's a very I don't want to say it's self-involved. It's like I'm gonna go I'm processing all of this through myself first. And when you're processing it all through yourself first, if someone is giving you like, say someone looks at you weird, you got to process that through yourself. You're like, what is going on? This person not like me? Do they hate me? Like, am I dressed wrong? Like, is there something on my face? Like, what am I doing? And you start to feel like kind of isolated and alone too, because you see yourself as very different from everybody else. Like, and you don't really know how they're going to act to you or behave around you. And you also have Sun and Mercury square Pluto, so that gives you a lot of control things. Like you want a lot of control over your situation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to call it control issues, but control's not always issues.
I despise the unknown or being out of control.
Issues a little bit.
Yeah.
A wee bit.
A wee bit.
No, I would totally say that. That I think which is where I get a lot of anxiety of the unknown, or if I can't control, because obviously you can't control how the world works.
Yeah.
And so that just freaks me out a lot. If there's if there's an unknown coming in, or if like how other, I'm not going to I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Under the bus. Was it
like family members? They would do something, and I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop making stupid decisions. If you just did it this way, it would make more sense." It was like, no, it's totally true.
Control issues oftentimes come from a very unstable family home life,
which is interesting because I didn't really have that. I was pretty.
It's like, so if you saw a family member that they did something that was weird, why was it weird to you?
It was. Well, it comes from, it's only with certain people that I'm like, I think it's because I'm love them so much and I care for them so much that I want to protect them. And so I'm scared to let them make their mistakes because I want to protect them.
Followed your plan, things would go better.
Like, I don't know the answers to shit. So I don't know why I think that, but
it's an interesting thing. I feel we can...
She's laughing at my chart.
No, we don't.
She's like, oh God, we don't need to bring that up.
No, what you're saying actually makes a lot of sense right now.
Because you have, there's something that, all I would say is that there's something going on in your chart that is like something happened and it made you not trust people. It made you not trust what they're about to do. And you kind of, after that, were like, all right, then I'll just only rely on myself, whatever that might be. And then because you rely only on yourself, you and the Leo energy, it creates this like universe around your sun. You're the sun, right? Because Leo is the sun. And the universe around the sun, it's like, if I'm the only one that's going to do it right, and you're Virgo rising, I really doubt that these people are going to do it right if they don't listen to me.
That's very interesting.
Which would come from something. And you don't have to talk about where it would come from.
I'm trying to think.
I kind of think. I mean,
you know where?
I'm just saying, I think your life was so stable. Like you said, before your parents got divorced, and that was such a shock.
That's the only thing I can think of,
That was so shocking
It was
to you.
shocking.
That's what you were saying. Oh, I got chills. Yeah, you said that earlier.
Shocking.
My
parents never fought, never in front of, like, I don't really think they ever fought, really. But they got, I don't want to, like, spill their own tea, but yeah, they ended up getting divorced, and it was shocking because I never saw it coming.
The whole family.
Yeah. And so, yeah, maybe that did kind of like shake some things up because I think
more
fucking
than
never saw it coming.
Realize.
Yeah.
Because you
totally.
You was a formative age too.
Yeah.
That was 9.
Yeah. 9. That's a huge deal. And you also have a kite in your chart.
What does that mean?
Oh, I don't even know what that means.
It looks like a kite. Yeah.
Oh, like an actual kite.
An actual kite. It like.
And what does that entail?
The kite is a lot of harmony and balance. And so that is where you have this harmony and balance. And then you have this big T square, which is a triangle, this red triangle that comes out of it.
Okay.
And that is like upheaval and chaos and like an issue.
Interesting.
And so you created a lot of tension inside of yourself. And actually, it goes straight to Venus in Libra, which is relational issues where Mars and square your moon. You have you don't want to make your parents same mistake, but you don't know why they fucking made it. And that confuses you because you're like, what am I supposed to do? So therefore to prevent something that I don't even know why it happened.
Ooh, that makes so
much
interesting.
sense.
Well, I've been in a relationship for 10 years and we're not married, not because we don't want to get married, but because I've always been very like, we don't need to rush. We don't need to rush. I don't want commitment. I don't want to commit too much. Don't want to fuck this up.
2 fire signs too.
Yeah. And I do have these.
Yeah. My boyfriend's a Sag.
Can you predict when they're going to get engaged? Because I'd like to know.
Kendall's really wants to know.
Well, the thing with like anything within marriage is like, okay, so you have with the Venus in Libra, which Libra is kind of marriage. That's not full love. Leo is love. It's the heart. So you have the capacity to love. It's in the 12th house. That's unconditional love. You have the capacity to love unconditionally. However, marriage freaks you out because you don't have control over it. So, you know that it doesn't mean forever. So there is this idea of before it could even ever happen, you would have to decide that being married would be something different than what you've always thought it was. That your parents got married for the wrong reason, and maybe you don't know what that is, but you don't have to know what the wrong reason was.
Sure.
You just have to know what the right reason for you to be married is. Would it be because you want to be protected, that you would want everybody else to know that you're taken, that this person and you are choosing to go through life together in a contracted form, not because you're chaining each other, but because it's in some way would bring you freedom? Because I think there's this very like strong, like, this is going to take away my stability. It's going to take away my freedom. When in reality, you're already in the relationship. Your freedom in that sense is already gone. You're already chained.
And that's the weird thing is because, I've been with this person for 10 years. I've lived with them for 6 or something.
Yeah.
So
you've really been together for like 12 years.
It like our lives are extremely enmeshed already.
Yeah.
So like if we got married, it wouldn't, like, nothing would really change as far as like on paper. You know what I'm saying? Like we already live together. We have 3 beautiful dogs together.
3 beautiful dogs. Do you want kids?
I'm not like I have to have kids, but I think
you would like.
I would like kids, but I kind of go back and forth.
You have your moon in the like. I can see that because you have Capricorn in the 5th, which is like, I don't want to fuck them up. But then you also have your moon in the and then your moon is in the 5th, which is also like, but I really like them.
I feel like I feel like I'd be a pretty good parent. I know my boyfriend would be a great parent. So, but I'm also like, I say that I'm kind of selfish in the sense of like, I like to do whatever the fuck I want. And you have to like give a lot up. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm ready to do that.
Yeah.
It's like a lot.
Well, if I wanted to predict then, based on your chart and not necessarily the things you said, because I just noticed something. You have Saturn retrograde in Pisces in the 7th. People who get married with Saturn in the 7th before their Saturn return always end up in divorce.
Oh, interesting.
So if you got married, well, your Saturn return starts in a year. So if you got married in the next 2 or 3 years, you could be just dooming what you have.
Oh, great.
Or another thing is because you're learning something about relationships right now. And I'm not saying, and because I don't know, that like the relationship you're in could end. But there is a possibility that something in both of you changes and you want a completely different life. And that could happen. And you don't even know because it's into the unknown. So don't try to control it now that I said it.
I'm like, okay, so my plan is to
the next 3 years to really hold this down.
I'm like, hey, note to self. Interesting.
There's something that will change a lot in your life that you don't even know about yet.
Oh, great. See, that just gives me raging anxiety. Hate that.
Yeah.
Hate that.
Yeah. I'm sorry about
that.
But
it's interesting because I've always been... yeah, thanks.
I'm a little scared that she knows that.
Great. I've always been not anti-marriage, but definitely like, I don't want to get married anytime soon. If you were to propose me, I would say no, not because I'm 11, but because like marriage, too much commitment. But in the past probably year, I would say that like I'm definitely like I would if the opportunity presented itself, I would say yes, like 100%.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like I'm wondering if there was something that had changed to me to get to that conclusion, or it just naturally occurred that way, type of thing. You know what I mean? I
would say that the more that you get to know yourself, the more you will be open to marriage, because there's a lot of like I said, you channel people through you, and while you're channeling people through you, while you're bringing in okay, well, I'm saying stuff to you, you could be listening to what I'm saying, but you're actually understanding it by bringing it into yourself, feeling it around, and then bringing it. And that's going to bring you anxiety too, because I'm telling you something. I could be a total nutcase and a liar.
Right.
But you still brought it in, and it still caused you anxiety before anything ever happened.
But I really trust you. If some rando told me that, I'd be like, fuck off. Like,
yeah, but it's true. But you still bring it within you, and you're still feeling it before the even happens.
Okay.
Because you bring in everything too. So you are experiencing more pain all the time than you need to.
Oh. Beautiful.
Because you bring it in. But one of the things that will happen is once you start being like, wait, just because they said this doesn't mean I have to bring it in. I don't have to accept anything.
Right.
Because I want to know how I feel. That's when you're going to be like, oh, this is what I want. And your heart's going to lead you there. You have, you have this very like, Fool energy, and it's not foolish, it's fool. It's like from tarot, and the fool energy is like jump off a cliff energy.
Really?
Yeah, and it's on your midheaven, which I think is very interesting. You have 0 degree midheaven, a 0 degree Mars. You have, and
jump off a cliff energy.
It's in your like career and in your purpose and in your destiny. It's something, but like you don't have to worry about it. All you have to do is take care of yourself, really feed yourself, love yourself. Learn about what you really value and what you really want. And when you start to do that, you'll just get closer and closer to the edge of the cliff, and you'll jump, and you'll know that the universe is going to take you no matter what decision you make. But until that moment happens, you'll just be kind of tottering on life.
I feel like I kind of had to jump off a cliff like a year or two ago.
You probably have. I can imagine you're going to do it a few times in your life.
Great. Love that. Yeah, I definitely jumped off a cliff like a year ago because I was in school. I was getting my master's in counseling, and I was like full on going to be an LPC.
She got her master's.
Yeah, wow. I have my...
Wow, that's cool. I barely went to school.
It's cool, but I didn't...
I dropped out because of a boy.
Well, I mean, I'm in debt now, and I'm a podcaster, so...
It's all right.
She jumped off the cliff.
You jumped off a cliff.
Jumped off a cliff and jumped onto her cliff.
Yeah, I like that. See, that's beautiful. Because that means that you're following a lot of the correct energy, because you weren't meant to be doing one-on-one or any sort of like that. But you know what? At the same time, what you learned is valuable. And I'm sure that what you're bringing into the table is very, very valuable.
Don't regret it for a second.
Yeah.
Would do it over again. I learned so much, but
so jumping off the cliff wasn't a big deal at all. In the end,
in the end, no.
But the lead up to that,
the lead up was fucking, because I started, like, a little backstory. I started working for Kendall, like helping her do research for cases, just because I was in school and I needed money, and so she was just kind of like, I opened to mango.
Oh my God.
What the fuck, man? All right, I'm sorry.
I like keep going everywhere.
Yeah, it's like kind of leaking. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Anyway.
But yeah, and so I was doing that, and then it started coming closer and closer to graduation, and I was loving what I was doing with her, and then I started producing Mile Higher and like getting more and more involved, and they were like, what are you gonna do when you graduate? And I was like, I knew I can't do both, because I want to be able to like put everything I have into one thing, and I felt like I was like being pulled. And so yeah, I mean, I decided to not go down my path that I thought I was gonna go down and do this instead, and we started a show, and it was scary for a while, but once I made the jump, it was like so freeing, and I've never like
the road less traveled by. You did the grateful thing, because most people would tell you that was the wrong choice, but you followed your heart, and
totally
that's always what it's going to be. And also your midheaven's Gemini, which is like the black and white choice, and just making it like also it's into 0 degrees. You basically, whenever you reach one of these walls, you're gonna feel like both options are like options that nobody in their entire lifetime has ever had to make. And that's kind of like that option. You're like, who would choose between dumping a master's degree and just podcasting? Like it's a new problem. They didn't have to learn about this 20 years ago. Like that would never have been a thing.
No.
And so when I say that you're going to do it again, it's going to be similar energy. You're going to be like in the unknown completely again. And that's why your desire for control is not a bad thing. It's allowing you to learn how to control yourself so that when you jump, you fly. It's just that when you're worried about other people and their reactions or their choices, that you get bogged down because it's taking you away from yourself. And that's the thing. It's like anything that I give you is like, it should always just be about you in the end. Always. That's how you're going to get out of this thing, like the marriage thing or whatever. And that's probably like the more, like when you made the jump, you probably got more into yourself and was more open to marriage because you're like, I'm not my parents.
Oh, that's really interesting.
That is.
Because, that's right around the time when I was like, I think I would like to get married. That sounds nice.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not my mom. I'm not my dad. They would never have done this decision. I'm not them. So maybe I'm a different breed of human and I can handle this.
My parents are definitely not like risk takers. And not that it was really, because it wasn't like I was like, I'm going to go start a band. Like Kendall was very well established. Like this thing was already proven to be successful. So I kind of had like a
landing.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what made me feel more comfortable. And also like, I was like, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out. Then I go use my master's degree in the more traditional sense or whatever. And
see, so it wasn't, in the end, you're like, was there even really a choice? You were always going to try this for the
totally. No, I always like kind of.
That's the thing with Gemini too. The choice is an illusion, but while you're in the middle of making a choice, it feels like life or death.
Oh yeah,
but there was never a choice to begin with. You always knew what you wanted.
That's so interesting.
Going with what you want, I think, is your lesson versus going about
what I'm supposed to be doing,
like analyzing the risk and trying, versus following your heart.
Yeah,
your heart.
And I mean, I feel like, well, we can get into your chart in a second, but you had to do that too with like when you started YouTube. Like our family was like, the fuck.
Yeah, everyone was a little like the fuck. Yeah,
I love.
But like, look now, it's like, hello, you're a trailblazer. So.
You are.
Oh my gosh,
you are OG and and fucking everybody does true crime now.
True,
yeah,
that.
It's crazy.
True that.
It's no one was doing it back then.
No,
it's so weird. I thought it was gonna. When I first did it, I was like, people are gonna think this is super weird.
And they loved it. They ate it up, and then it's like everywhere and everything.
I know. I didn't even call it true crime. I didn't know that was a name for it.
Oh yeah, and
like missing persons cases.
Where is?
Wow.
We did like a Where Is series for a while.
Yeah, and you're so good at that too because you just have this. You're so calm and kind and natural. Like I couldn't do that because I'd be like, when the fucking bitch just fucking slice this girl's throat, and she was like, "Can you imagine?" I'd be like, "Fuck you," but you know, like I wouldn't be able to do it.
Say off camera.
You're so calm because I like watch you say stuff, and I'm like, I would also be bawling my eyes out too. Like I'm so emotional. I'd be like crying. I'd be going from like anger to crying to like numbness. Like yeah,
yep.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Well, I
feel like this is highly stressful.
Oh, it can be. Yeah. For sure. can get into like your dreams and like.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, I think I've gotten better at putting up a wall. But anyway, I'm really interested in Janelle.
I was like,
Let's talk about me yet.
Okay, not yet. Oh my God. But yeah, that is what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
It really does.
A lot of sense.
It's cool. I actually I'm looking at your chart. It's very cool. There's a lot of very strong creative energy into it. And I also can see why you got your masters. Like that you have Taurus and Scorpio intercepted in your 9th and your 3rd. And you also have your South Node and your North Node. And what that means to me is that the 9th is like going to university. And in your past life energy or like in who you've always thought you should be, you want to improve your intelligence. And,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And going to get your master's would do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you've done it. But then at the same time, it's like, okay, you've done it so many times in different past lives and different lifetimes. In this lifetime now you've done it and you're bored of it. Because you're like, it proved something, but not enough. It almost reminds me of like Frodo at the end of Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you've
No.
okay, yeah.
I was going to say,
but Frodo,
she's married to the biggest Lord of the Rings fan in the world.
Oh, really? Okay, I want to talk to him later. Can we hang out and talk?
For sure. We love it.
Fucking love Lord of the Rings. Like more than anything. Okay, good. We can also talk about it. I'm starting to get like sweaty.
Yeah, I don't know shit about Lord of the Rings. Frodo, who?
Okay, so Frodo though at the end he goes back to he goes back to the Shire and he's after everything and he's trying to like he's basically goes back to the South Node energy and he's like trying to make his life there and he can't. And he tells Sam like the Shire, we went on this trip, we saved the Shire and it's been saved, but not for me. Not for me. I need to go do something else. Like that's the big thing. And when you were talking, I'm like, that's what it is. It's like, I did this journey. I went and I got my master's. This is the one that I knew that I had to do, the one that was meant for me. And I saved myself with this. I saved my hometown, basically. This is what I've always felt was my hometown, like what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And then but it's not saved, not for me. And then you're like, what do I do now? You like go on another journey, like go into the unknown. And in Lord of the Rings, they go into the white shores. They're calling.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch it. Just kidding. It's way too long. I'll never watch it.
She doesn't have much attention span.
I despise movies. Does that have anything to do with my chart?
You just gave me all of your anxiety. Sorry. You just not watch Lord of the Rings. How could you just not sit there and watch like the extended editions like all in a row in one day?
I've gone to the theater and done 12 hours straight.
I did that too. And Return of the King.
Yep, right around that time.
I did 3 times.
Like 2014, something like that.
That's a lot of commitment. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
A lot of watch time.
Oh my gosh, but it's so worth it. And then it's like
magical story.
It's magical. And all the endings in the Return of the King are important because you think it's going to be over and then there's another ending and you're like, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God there's another ending because I wasn't ready to give up yet. But then when the real ending happens, you're like, fuck.
It's devastating.
It's devastating. It is devastating.
It really is.
And then you have to do it again.
Yeah. No, I won't be tuning in.
I guess I'll go start down that road.
You kind of are Frodo.
Wow.
You are Frodo.
Frodo vibes.
Yeah.
She's my Frodo. And I'm just Sam.
Sweet.
You're Sam. Oh, that's really sweet.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but I'll take it.
I just eat potatoes and watch her.
I don't think that's what you do, Kendall. I think you're selling yourself a little short. I think
just saying, not getting the vibe. You don't even like potatoes.
You can be Frodo-y for sure.
Okay. I think you're a little more
potatoes.
Kendall, you're a little more Aragorn-y. You're the king of the castle.
Damn. Thank you.
And you got the pretty eyes too.
He's hot.
Yes.
Damn.
Legolas is hotter though.
Yeah, I mean they're all hot.
Well, like that's my view. I don't want to shove my viewpoint down.
Orlando Bloom is Legolas.
Oh, love him. Big fan of Orlando.
What about with like elf ears and blue eyes and long blonde hair?
Ooh, riding on a stone.
Here, let's just look at
elf ears. I don't know anyone in real life, but
this podcast is taking interesting.
I'm really sorry. If I can talk about Lord of the Rings, I will. I don't know.
Oh my god!
Like he's really good with a bow and arrow.
And it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he stands up real straight and he says stuff like, the red sun rises, blood has been spilled this night.
Okay.
God, my husband is going to need to talk to you.
I was going to say, should we bring Josh?
Yeah.
Should we
we don't have to talk about Lord of the Rings anymore.
Okay.
And he doesn't make any, he can walk on top of snow. He doesn't make any footprints. He leaves them. He's very light
like
on
an
his
angel.
feet. He's like an angel.
And this is Kendall?
She's Aragorn.
Oh. Okay.
He's the king. But she said he was hot, and then I got nervous and started talking about Legolas.
Gotcha.
Because he's the hottest to me. Oh.
Okay, yeah, I'm completely fucking lost.
So I want to know about her and
let's look. So we can look at this is
Mr.
called
John.
Mr. John.
Synastry. Okay, so can you explain a little bit what Synastry is for
Yes.
people who have never heard of that.
Yes. Okay. So if you take what I just read for Johnelle, that's her chart, and then say I read John, right? If I read John's chart, I can actually take those two charts and I can line it up next to each other where all the signs are in the same place. So the planets have changed and the rising sign has changed. And then you can see where they line up and if they are compatible with each other.
That's interesting.
So you can see where you have tension, where you have issues, where things are really nice and flowy, where things might get a little manipulative, where there might be deal breakers.
Interesting.
Stuff like that.
Would you rather go into my chart first and then do both of our
It depends. We
Synastry,
could
or
do your Synastry if we want to.
Yeah, we
take
can
a little break?
Yeah, jeez. Let me breathe for a second.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have a
you
lot
get Frodo.
to process.
Frodo, you got to go back to the Shire, just take a nap, and then you can go
You can come
after
back.
the White
Yeah.
Shores.
Yeah, I need to take a nap. All right, let's focus on Kendall.
Okay.
Such a cool moment for me who don't understand. Alyssa
my-
Sharpe is reading my chart. Like,
Ooh,
this
rhymes
is
even.
so
Oh,
full
that's right.
circle.
It is.
Like, you have no idea.
I'm like really excited to just like be here because I've wanted to be around you for years now. Like
I wanted to be around you.
Oh my god, we just become best
cool.
friends.
I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm like really excited too.
It's really weird for me too, because I remember like showing her like videos from her chart and being like, you got to hear Alyssa, like, and then now I'm sitting here watching you.
No, it is like a trip.
It's really
You're
weird.
like talking about
It
our
feels
charts.
really
Yeah.
right.
It does. It feels very comfortable.
The
This
way
is very
you
comfortable.
explain
Good.
things
You think
is
it's
so like
comfortable
I
here?
could literally listen to you
know.
talk about me for you.
Like everything you say is so poetic and like thoughtful.
Oh my god, thank you.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes.
I love poetry. Actually, it's so. I got nervous and I couldn't. You guys keep making me nervous. I get nervous around compliments. I'm really working on it.
I do too.
You do.
I do.
Is
Yeah.
that
yeah.
a Libra thing?
It's
Because one of my best friends is a Libra, and if I compliment her, she's like turns red and is like,
yeah. I sometimes I'm like, okay, like I'm so glad my hair is long so I can go into my home.
Yeah, that's nice. I need that.
yeah, and you can just like really hide behind that.
I'm a Libra rising.
You are, yeah. So this is a Libra. Well, there's like Libra wants to give, and you can get really stuck in that energy of giving, and you never receive, and so you lose balance and equilibrium. And I lost a lot of balance recently because I was just giving, and wasn't receiving. So much so that I couldn't even like hold down food. Like it hit my body in a weird way. Like I would eat food and I'd have to throw it up because I couldn't digest it.
Yeah.
Because it's as above, so below. Like if I'm going on for such a long time, not allowing myself to be receptive, I will block everything from going in.
interesting.
Yeah.
Before we get into Kendall's channel, let's thank our sponsors.
My chart.
Her channel, wow. Into her chart.
Oh,
yeah.
Talk about your channel.
Yes,
Yes.
let's thank our sponsors and we will be right back. Imagine you're walking down the street, taking a little stroll, and you look up and all of a sudden a bird is pooping on your arm. Well, are you just going to pat it off with a dry napkin? No, you'd wash it off with water. So why are you treating your buttholes any differently? Stop smearing your business around with toilet paper and start washing with water with the Hello Tushy bidet. Guys, we have been sponsored by Tushy for a while now, and I love Tushy. I truly recommend their product. They are so convenient and really easy to install. All you have to do is simply spray and pat dry, and it attaches right to your existing toilet. There's no electrician or plumber needed, and it installs in less than 8 minutes. Another really cool thing about Tushy is that it cuts down your toilet paper use by up to 80%, which is saving you money and paper waste. You can make the restroom your best room with the complete Tushy system, including the Tushy bidet attachment, ottoman, and toilet brush. They have tons of different accessories. I definitely suggest checking out their website so you can set up your best bathroom yet. Hello Tushy has cleaned over 1 million happy bums. Join them today and take care of your business the cleaner way. And we want all of our listeners to have clean bums, so visit hellotushy.com/sesh to get 10% off plus free shipping right now. And once you've purchased your Tushy, make sure to tag us and Hello Tushy at Hello Tushy on social media so we can celebrate your clean butt with you. That's hellotushy.com/sesh for 10% off. You will not regret this purchase, and it's a great gift as well. And with the hot summer months coming up, you'll want a clean butt. So get Hello Tushy.
We're supposed to go to the OBGYN once a year for our annual checkups, but checking in with our fertility usually isn't a thing until we're ready for kids. That's why Modern Fertility was created. It's an easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a simple finger prick. Then you just mail it in with a prepaid label and you get your personalized results within 10 days. You'll get insight into your hormone levels, your ovarian reserve, which is how many eggs you have compared to other women your age, and other important fertility factors. The results go deep into what every hormone means, and you can also talk one-on-one with a fertility nurse to review your results and your options for next steps. Traditional testing with your doctor can cost over $1,000, but Modern Fertility gets you that same info for $150, a fraction of the price. And if you go to modernfertility.com/sesh, you can get $20 off your test. Plus, if you have HSA or FSA, you can put those dollars toward Modern Fertility as well. If you want kids today or maybe one day in the future, clinically sound info about your body can help you make the decision that's right for you. Using Modern Fertility was so helpful when planning my pregnancy, and Josh and I learned so much. We took the test back last spring, and it really helped us line up for our decision to go ahead and start trying to have children last year. And now that I'm pregnant, I am using their prenatal vitamins, and I absolutely love them. I highly recommend them. And right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/sesh. That means your test will cost $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands that it could cost at the doctor's office. So get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/sesh. That's modernfertility.com/sesh.
So your chart. Okay, when I look at your chart, there was this like word that I got from it, and it's such a weird word, and I don't know why I decided that I was going to say it, but it's not even a word; it's a phrase. Your chart, it needs. I don't want to say it now. It was so much easier not saying it on a podcast because I don't want it to make you feel weird. Sorry. Okay, your chart needs lubrication.
Okay. That's a fine
she's dry.
I don't know. I just said it. It was like
that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like okay. You can get it, but it's like consistently you are like a rock. Like you are. You know, have you ever heard that song by Coldplay called Green Eyes?
Oh yeah,
Honey, you are a rock. Of course, you have green eyes. That's your song.
Yeah, that is my song.
It's my song too. So
it's
good.
Our song.
It's our song together. Upon which I stand.
Yep.
Come here.
Every time I go to the chiropractor, that song is on.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like to
get into alignment with yourself. Because chiropractic.
Whoa! Boom! There it is.
It's beautiful.
Green eyes.
My friend used it. Like I always told her it was going to be my wedding song, and she used it in her wedding. And I was like, at her wedding, like, wait, what's happening to me? Like I was like, did I just lose my last form of romantic love expectation? That was my
cold-hearted.
Yeah, it's okay because life keeps going on. You keep moving forward, and then you start to realize that just because you lost those things doesn't mean they're taken from you. Or just like realistically, if you choose, like that's I think a Libra energy too. Is like you took that from me, now I don't have it. No, you can recreate it. We can both have the song. Like my friend can have the song, I can have the song. It like won't matter. It's not about copying.
Yeah,
we all live in our own universe. And you can have, and just because something was taken from you, you can still give yourself something back. You know, like you don't have to just, it's like, I think even there's a control freak or control mechanism of so much was taken that now I'm just going to give it to you before you have the chance to take it because that feels better.
Yeah.
And then you're like, someone's giving you something and you're like, I don't know what to do with this because you're so far gone. That's probably like where my Libra energy went. But I've been good at receiving more recently. Good. Working on it. This is like, I feel very receptive to this. I love this. I love like sitting with you guys. It's really nice. And walking in, it was so nice. I felt a lot of like beautiful energy around.
Oh, that's so cool to hear. Yeah, thank you. Wow.
You're our first guest, so I'm glad that you feel good.
So
here.
Complimented that I'm your first guest.
Yeah,
you are the. Who else would we have?
Yeah, literally.
I don't know.
You're top of my
Barbara
list.
Walters.
Barbara.
I was thinking about The View.
No, didn't Barbara do something this year?
That would be
she canceled. Did she die? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. What
I can't
happened
remember. I think there was something we were pissed at her about earlier.
Wasn't it
with Whoopi?
Oh, with Britney Spears.
Yep, she said some fucked up shit.
Yeah, we like it resurfaced like that old interview that she was like making fun of.
It was Diane Sawyer.
Oh, never mind. Fuck,
wait,
different
right.
bitch.
We're getting confused. Thank God someone's here that knows.
It's all right. I just am like really into pop culture.
Actually, maybe Barbara didn't do anything.
Maybe she did.
God bless Barbara.
Barbara,
Anyway.
she invented The View. That's all I know. And
she did.
And you could have The View.
But
Barbara.
I actually did. Yeah. No hate to Barbara.
No hate to Barbara. Sorry, we take it all back. Okay, back to lubrication.
Oh yeah, lubrication.
Okay, no. So you're rock.
Okay.
Upon which I stand. I come here to talk. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, you're also a new moon Taurus. You have so much, like it's just hard rock energy. Like that's what I see. And it's so funny because we were watching The Neverending Story, but we stopped. The Rock Man, and in Neverending Story. Did you ever see that?
Never heard
Okay,
it.
but he's this big rock man, and something that always sticks with me from the movie, even childhood, even though I haven't seen it for 25 years. He says like he's holding on to these people, and he loses them, and he's standing there, and he just keeps saying like, these look like big, strong hands, don't they? They look like big, strong hands, but I couldn't hold on to them. And when I'm looking at your chart, like I just feel like you have this like strong rock energy. You can hold on to things. You know you're strong, and then every once in a while, like you're like, I couldn't hold on to that. Like, why couldn't I? Sorry if this is getting like
no, that's very,
and
that really, yeah.
And you just, because it's not everything's for you to be the rock for.
Ooh,
Some
gives me
things-
chills. Wow, that makes me like emotional.
Yeah, it's making me emotional too.
Wow,
No, it's good.
That's
Thank
that's
you.
really interesting.
This is like therapy for me.
That's what this is, kind of this astrology reading. Actually, I was thinking you both would be looking at your charts, be very good at astrology. That's why you were so into it. You just were like, oh, I couldn't, read somebody's chart. The more you do it,
Yeah,
you guys would just find your like intuitive
Just
flow with
see
it,
Wow.
because you have natural like skills that I can see in your chart.
That's our
that's
next
cool. It's our next
podcast.
venture.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah.
So the lubrication thing though is like, you just need like, I mean, realistically drinking water, but like being around water, like those kind of things, but also like somebody to like butter you up all the time and like make sure and that whole receptive giving thing, like you're a giver because you give people that rock to stand on, but it's like, do you receive? Are you receiving as much as you're giving out? And especially because you're going to have a baby, you're going to be very, very depleted. And that's what happened to me. I had very bad postpartum depression because I had been giving so much up to that point, and then all of a sudden you have a baby and you can't take anything from a baby. You got to give.
Yeah.
So
right.
you just keep giving and giving, and then pretty soon you don't even know that like you're a shell of a human and nobody's refilling you.
Yeah.
So you have to sit and try to refill yourself, and then that you kind of get resentful for that too, because you're like, I'm giving to people. Why is no one else? Why am I'm giving to people and now I'm giving to myself. Where is that other connective person that is giving to me, that is filling me up, that is making sure that I'm okay? And so that's just a big thing that you're really actually you're heading into too, because you're going through your Saturn return, and your Saturn's in the 5th house of children.
About that. Yeah.
Your baby's going to have the same Saturn as you. My babies have the same Saturn as me too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is. It's
Tell us more
very
about like
karmic.
explain that to the people who don't understand.
Okay,
like
so
me.
Saturn is karma, like we could say it that. So you have the same Saturn as your babies. You're kind of passing on your karma to them. And you can choose to help them break the karmic cycles that you had on you. Because as much as we want to love our kids and be perfect parents, we're not going to be. And there's things that are kind of out of our control. It's kind of like my kids, and because they have the same Saturn as me and the Saturn issues that I've had to go through, I started to have like visions of things happening to my daughter that I went through, that my mother went through, that her mother went through. And I was like, how do I get out of this? And I really had to like pray about it, like just like really get into the spiritual energy of it. Cause I'm like, why am I having this? I'm like, because am I not doing enough? And it wasn't like, you're not doing enough. You're doing too much. You're going the wrong way. You're not in alignment with the better truth for your feminine line here. Like, so you're passing down this karma to your daughter unintentionally because you're not breaking the chains. And if you can break these chains, then you can be a better mother to your daughter, and she won't have to deal with this. She will be free, and her Saturn, her karmic issues they'll be a lot more free flowing. And that's what I want to give to her. So that's what I'm like actively trying to do. And so having your Saturn in the 5th in Aquarius, like there's something that you're going to break for her. And you will. Like I can guarantee like you're going to break it for her. You're not going to let this stick. And you might find in a couple years that you've done all these things and you've given to her and you've done what you can do, and you're just like, why is it still here? Why can I feel these karmic chains? Why am I experiencing my mother? Like, why am I experiencing something like I'm deja vu in some way, or like a repeat of a cycle? Why is that here? And then you'll be like, now I know what that is, and I'll fix it. And you'll fix it. Like, you don't have to think about that now. You don't have to control that now. Like right now, you need to take care of yourself, because once your baby comes out, you're gonna be taking care of your baby.
Right.
So the most important thing is you in the world. And that's hard for a Libra rising.
Yeah, that is.
But it is. That's your shadow self is Aries, which means that self. Your shadow self is taking care of yourself. When you get into the 7th house energy, it's your relational energy. We want our spouse, our relationship, or boyfriend, girlfriend to pick up our shadow self for us.
Yeah.
To mirror that back. And they should help us with that. But sometimes they don't really know what they're doing or, whatever. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it does belong to us to do the best we can with it. And when yours is Aries, and you actually have Mars on your midheaven, which this defines your entire, your glory, your destiny, your purpose on earth, is that you coming into your full self and really taking care of yourself will give you the most success in life. Mm-hmm. But you don't even realize that because when you're a kid, our 7th house is oftentimes the house that our parents tell us is the weakest or the worst or not as valuable. I have Virgo 7th house, which you have a Virgo 1st house. And so that would mean that Virgo in your 1st house, you take a lot of pride in your organizational skills, or at least the way that you can control things. You're a perfectionist about certain things. Totally. Your appearance, the way you look, what things are around you, what kind of food you put into your body. All those things are very important to you. And your work ethic and your intelligence and your analyzing, your analytical abilities and your ability to pick up and be perceptive about things, right?
Yeah.
So I got Virgo in the 7th house, which is that I was told I was lazy all the time if I wanted to take a nap, or so I was always running on empty, or I would pick up all the work in the world and it would never be enough. And I still would be like, oh, you fucking suck, Alyssa. You're the worst. You can't do anything. It would turn all that Virgo energy that I could have had pride into, and it turned it into this is the worst possible thing that you could do. You're never going to be good here. So you should have somebody else in your life pick up the pieces, which is then you go look for a relationship to pick up those pieces, and you find another toxic one because you haven't cleared out your own toxicity and your own lies that you tell yourself. So when it's Aries, it's very difficult because it's Kendall, you're not supposed to be yourself. You're not supposed to take care of yourself. You're not supposed to have any identity outside of the family unit or the relationship or whatever. You need to be you. I mean, you need to not be you because you suck. You talking about you, if you went on, and this is what a beautiful thing is, your channel proved that if you can just go on and talk about nonsense and do your makeup, you could turn that into a fucking empire and it did, because you have an Aries ruled by Mars on your midheaven. So you kind of deciding, I'm going to be me a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to kind of talk about things that are going on in my life. You pulled people to you and you didn't even realize, because that was your shadow aspect that you normally would want to avoid, but you brought it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's we do it, but we're never necessarily proud of it when we do it. We always dismiss it.
Yes.
Hence hiding it for a while.
And it was very out of character for me. I still can't believe that there was ever a day that I picked up the camera and started doing this. It's shocking to me. I'm who was that person that day that did that?
It was your child self. It was your inner child. She just picked it up and was like, I'm going to do this because I know how to be myself.
Yep.
If there's anything I know, it's me. Yeah. And that's what we put in the shadows. We hide our inner child in the shadows.
Yeah, it really was my inner child. I used to make so many home videos, and I was my whole life was directing people in these little movies, and
that.
Yeah, I kind of abandoned it for years in high school. I mean, we all kind of shove our childhood self down. Yeah.
Well, because that's so embarrassing and lame.
Yeah,
never gonna be cool.
Right, exactly.
You're never gonna get asked to prom.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of rediscovered it, and it was the best thing I ever did.
And it changed your life.
It did.
And then now you're in a position where you have created something. You are a very strong, successful rock for people to stand on. So are you getting fed is your big question that you're going through right now. Because once you start getting fed, really just and where you can take it in. Oh, it's 444 right now too. That's a master. This building number.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
That just fits my whole internal thinking lately. It really does.
I hate that you're in that place, but at the same time,
it's kind of a blessing to be in that place in some ways. I guess. I don't know.
It is. You know what? It's a turning point. It's kind of we're all sitting here, even Nicole's going to be on later. We're all heading into the unknown. There's a big shift in energy, and you can go back to the way things always were and they did work for you and you could go do it, or you could just really decide to change something and grow into a new complete person.
Yeah.
And I think we're all kind of being met with that right now. Because there is like, as successful as you can be, there's always like a desire for more. And we were discussing this, like, do you ever lose that desire for more? You don't, but you need to be content with where you're at too. And when everything around you is not feeding you, or it's not like building into you, or it's not progressing you anyway, you're not happy, you're not emotionally safe. Like you can't explain all your emotions, because you know if you tell someone close to your emotions, they might not react well. So you just kind of hold them in, or maybe you're afraid that they won't react well. All those kind of things ruin your right now. They kill your life, because this is your life right now. Like this moment in time is your life, not tomorrow, not yesterday. You're living today, and then the rest of it is just an illusion.
Right.
So if you're in a position where you're not getting something from it in any way, shape, or form, it's a waste. And if you allow that to drag on, then it's a waste of a longer period of time. And I think people are kind of unconsciously waking up to that. There's this show on HBO Max called Station 11. And one of the lines is like, I don't want to live the wrong life and then die.
Ooh.
Yeah, that like hit me, because I was
Yeah.
You can.
How do you ensure that doesn't happen though? I feel like you can't. Or what is the wrong life?
The wrong life
versus.
Yeah, I guess it's just what you personally can view about yourself. When you wake up and you look at yourself, are you content? Are you happy? Are you feeling love? Is your heart on fire, like burning for love? Like, are you believing in the things that you're doing?
Sure.
As soon as that goes away, then it's kind of time to look at it and be like, why? What did I used to have here that put passion into my life that is now gone? Like I had to think about that when I started astrology. I really liked it, and I was very, very bogged down by it. And so I quit for 2 years. And I wasn't happy those 2 years either. And I just wasn't happy when I came back. I wasn't happy at all. However, I was realizing which things in my life were making me unhappy. And I realized it was my direct source of happiness that I chose to marry me. That was the problem. That every day that I was living was the problem. And I broke it down for years, like it's been 4 years of just really trying to take out every little, was it bad friends? Is it family? Sure. Is it like my job? Is it the thing I'm doing? Is it astrology? Is astrology room? I was trying all these things because I knew something was wrong.
Right.
And I realized that it just comes down to who is directly in your life, and are they giving to you as much as you're giving to them? And if they're not, would you be better off on your own giving to yourself? And did you ever even give yourself that option? Or were you so busy feeling like you were an incomplete person that needed somebody else to complete you?
Kendall is a savior. Like, she wants to save, like throws out a life vest for everyone.
It's true.
It's so true.
And it's beautiful. Like, everyone is your friend. I love it. And you're so like giving and beautiful and supportive.
Yeah. But I could see how that's also like, well, where's my life vest?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because you're the rock on which everyone stands. And
the rock.
You are the rock. Like, you just are. And you can't save everybody.
No.
And even like your true crime, like it was everything that you've done, like making a big difference. And is that enough? Honestly, like in your everyday life, does that feed you enough to make you feel like I'm on the right track? And if that is, then you know you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And if you get to a point where you're like, I'm so tired and I hate everything, and this isn't meaning the same thing to me anymore.
I hate everything.
I always get to a point where I'm like, I hate everything, but I just hate everything. I don't know. Like, it's just everything. I really love Starbucks. I've been starting to be like, what are the things that I do like, you know?
Yeah. What's Starbucks? That's nice.
I really like it. It's really nice. I love water. I love this water bottle I got from Starbucks.
Oh my God. I was going to say
that's a beautiful water bottle.
Isn't it? It's
gorgeous. Mermaidies.
Very
shiny.
Pisces rising.
Yeah, very Pisces rising.
I really love my hair right now. I'm like into it. So
Your
I'm trying to.
It's got some
gorgeous
good hair.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Stop it. I mean, no, thank you. I'm taking So yeah, those are my little things of like being grateful for little things. You're like, because not.
Yeah.
I feel like more ambitious people too tend to hate more things as well. That's what fuels your fire. Like, I hate that this is happening. I hate this injustice. I hate this stupid thing.
I hate if I can too.
Yeah, if I can put myself into a position where I can help these things.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I hated the way that the women were treated in church. I hated that. I hate the way that women are treated all over the place. I hate that like things that women are really good at are treated like they're stupid. And astrology was one of them. And so maybe I didn't really consciously know what I was doing back in the day, but I was like, I'm going to make astrology cool. And I don't care if people are making fun of me, because they're making fun of me no matter what I do.
Totally.
I could like be a server in a restaurant. People would make fun of me the way that I was a server in a restaurant.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, those are my vibes. And I'm like, but I don't care about those. I have a reason to live, like to go after something. And part of me now has been like, okay, pop astrology is huge now. People know it's just going to get bigger. The fire has been lit.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all over TikTok, all over YouTube. It doesn't matter if my shit was the blueprint or not. Like, it doesn't like, and I know that it was, and that's personal to me, but it's like what other piece of the puzzle do I go into? And so that's the crossroads, and that's an unknown energy, because I could stay in it, which I can, and I will until I can jump, like safely.
Yeah.
But it's, you just have to like, you really have to know yourself, engage yourself to know when it's time to move on from these things. Because I think like in general too, like I was holding on to for a while that I was the first pop astrologer, that nobody was doing it differently than me. And I wish that people came into astrology and did it their own way and didn't just take what I did. I wish they spoke on it in a new way, the way I spoke on it in a new way. But it's like, maybe it never needed that. And maybe me holding on to that is holding me back from something much better. So I'm going to let go of that. I'm going to give it up.
Right.
And I'm going to figure out the next part. And that might not include that. And that's okay.
You shook me. I'm just like kind of blown away that the things you're saying are just so aligned with a lot of my mind right now.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's cool. Your Jupiter is on my sun too. So maybe just bringing out this in me.
Wow.
We also have the same moon. But because I'm just talking and I'm really enjoying talking, because my stream of thoughts is speaking to my own brain right now too.
It's like speaking my thoughts are coming out through your mouth, and it's so weird. I mean, this is, in a lot of ways I can be, like you said, the savior, trying to save everyone, and then end up like leaving myself to not be saved.
Yeah. And I think there's so much happiness that I have received through helping people in my life until I didn't. Yeah. That's the thing. That's just where I would be like, go on forever. Like, go on until you can't. But when you can't, recognize that you can't anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's been something that both of her and I have had to learn, like, especially over the past few years of like trying to save these people that are so close to us. And then when because I think you kind of can agree with me in the sense of like, when they don't do what we think they should do.
Yeah.
It's hard to be like, okay, well, this is their own journey. This is their own life path. And we have to respect that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it can kind of be self-destructive in a way where like you can't work harder at that person's life than they're willing to work.
Exactly.
So
that's beautiful too. Cause I do that all the time as well.
Right. Do you find that a lot of people who are a lot of astrologists, are they control freaks as well?
Yeah.
And is that why they're into it? Because it makes sense. That helps them make sense of the chaos.
Yes, it does. And it's like, okay, now I can, today is this. Like, it's funny because I've never really been like today Mars is on my sun. That's why. Like, I'm not, sure. I've never been very transity. Like, I know the transits, but I've never used them to explain. And the only reason is because I've always been more like people personified. Like, if there's somebody coming at me, I can be like, oh, yeah, maybe because Mars is on my sun and this person is acting like Mars to me right now. Yeah. But it's always about like the people, and I don't need to look at transits to know how I'm going to like handle these people. Mm-hmm. However, I definitely utilized astrology back in the day. I mean, and to learn about people so that I could control my reaction to them or control them through it.
Yeah.
And I do think that a lot of control freaks now, and that's why I brought it up, do use transits to control things. Because I'm like, I never did it that way, but I definitely did the sign. Like, but people get very, very into transits and let them really rule their life because then they have control over
transits are what's currently happening.
Yeah, what's currently happening. So the stars around us right now are dictating certain things. And that's how you can predict the future. If you can read transits in the future, you can see this is going to happen in the future. Which knowing the future is a part of progression of society and growth.
Because I feel like the world is very destructive right now. And it kind of seems like it's going to shit a little bit. Not gonna lie, I feel like a lot of people could agree that everything's kind of fucked right now. Is that why? Because we're in theory like opening our eyes to what truth is.
You have to like go through the mud.
You got to go through it. It's kind of like you open up the gate, you open up the doors, you can't shut them.
Right.
So you got to keep walking.
They're
forward.
coming in, so you might as well.
Or you run back
going.
and hide, but you got to keep going. Yeah. And that's why I think too, when we can go back to like, I don't want to live the wrong life and then die. It's like, I think right now, maybe the wrong life would be different than what it was 20 years ago. Right now, the wrong life is turning around and hiding under your bed. The right life would be, I'm gonna face all this. And before I face it, I have to face myself. I have to face my shadow side. I have to face my inner child. I have to face that shit. I have to integrate it with myself. I have to feel okay with it. I have to stop relying on my trauma triggers to save me and my defense mechanisms because those aren't going to save me in this new world. I need to clear my heart. I need to fully go after like the things that my heart wants the most.
Sure.
Because if everybody went after what their heart wanted the most, which is technically your sun sign.
Right.
So like for a Libra heart, what do I want the most? I want like a loving romantic like relationship, someone to hold my hand and walk through life with me.
What does Taurus want the most?
Taurus wants stability and not to have to work so hard for every dollar that comes into your bank account and to have relaxation and to feed yourself.
What does Leo want?
Leo is the heart. Leo wants to be royalty and for people to know that you do have genius and you're on God's side and that you do have a lot of love to give and that you are above. There's a need to be above and it's not an ego problem because you want people to look at you and listen to you because you know you have the right things to say.
Interesting.
And the Leo also wants to create though too. It's like creative, like it's very fertile energy. Like I want to be this creative type. Like I want to be good at a lot of different things. And I want people to recognize that in me as well. So those little things. And every sign has what their heart, like a Cancer really just wants like a home and emotional security and emotional stability.
Sure. What does Virgo want?
Sorry, no. You go through Virgo wants that the perfection and the details and that things are going right. And so Virgo, well, you have your rising in Virgo. So it's like Virgo wants things to be clean. They want things to be functional. And that's why when a Virgo gets into a workplace, things tend to go more smoothly because they reorganize. Virgo is actually life itself. So at this point, the only heart that's actually working is Virgo. And you can tell that because even when the world shuts down, we still need Virgo things like postal service.
Totally.
What other
liquor stores were open.
Liquor store, yeah. Anything that's like organizational and like
toilet paper,
KonMari, toilet paper. Yeah, but it is. It's like why are we going to these basic necessities of things? It's because ultimately Virgo's always going to win out because when it gets down to it, that's what we're going to need.
Right.
And Aries energy tends to win out too, which is because it's the masculine energy, which is dominion and man.
Yeah.
It always tends to win too.
What about Sagittarius?
Sagittarius is wisdom and truth. And so the Sagittarius really does desire to bring wisdom and truth to the world.
Ooh, that's John.
It's interesting too, because if you look at the flip side, how toxic we get in these traits too, when we're not doing the right thing, like a lot of like Sagittarius people will make up a truth in their head and then become dogmatic with it. And that's what's actually destroyed the church because the church religion falls in Sagittarius. So it's like the Sagittarius energy has obviously gone haywire in some way to create this dominion with religion to hurt people. And if Sagittarius, though, really followed their heart, then that one could be cleaned up as well, which would be like to really discover the truth first, go all the way till you find it, go through those gates. Everyone has to go through those gates. And I think like you're like the Taurus energy of like, what is the next step? Not working as hard. You don't need to work so hard to bring in what you have. You've already worked as hard as you need to work. Now you need to rest, but still maintain your livelihood. So how do you do that, especially with a new baby coming in? And so you have to walk through those gates, and it's going to get harder before it gets easier. You're going to have to work harder and more before you can pull back and finally be like, okay, I made it stable, but you have to align yourself with that.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, yeah, each one, like in like Libra energy is like, I realize now what I want in a relationship, like, but I have to walk through these gates of like, it's okay to be alone, you know? It's okay to just love you. That one, I didn't like saying that out loud. I was like, that sucked. But you have to be okay with that. You have to like totally honor that within yourself and walk through it and know that you might have to work harder on your own to really align yourself with your true purpose before you can meet that other side.
Wow, it's so interesting.
Yeah. And so I think we're just trying to figure that out. How do we gain it all on our own? Even if it's hard, knowing what we know, but we're following our heart, and that's what our heart wants is our sun sign. And that's why sun sign astrology gets a lot of shit. And it does, because it is the most basic. Mm-hmm. But it's also like learning about your sun sign feeds your ego, because the sun is the heart is also the ego when it's broken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we feed the ego, and that's what sells. However, if you really looked at it and you're just like, I could realign my heart to this sign to really admit that this is what I want.
Yeah.
Because I think we don't even admit it. I'm like, oh, I'm like that, but that's not really what I want. No, your heart wants that, like more than anything. And if there's something holding it up, you got to figure out what's holding you up from that. And that's why like a lot of people will say Leo energy is really malefic. Like it's a lot of people meet Leos and they don't know why they're so backstabbed by them. Sorry, you're a Leo, but it's just like the energy of that. And it's because Leo is the heart completely. So Leos tend to be like, why are you not worshiping me? Fuck you. I'm going to destroy you now. And you're like, wait, all I did was say hi. Like, I just didn't say hi. I love you. Oh my God. Like I didn't.
Your biggest fan. That's so funny.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's different for every sun sign, like what trips them up. And that's the thing, but it's what your heart's going after. So everyone should learn about their sun sign and figure out what that means. And they should be like, what part of my heart really feels like that's valuable? And go after that and chase after it. And maybe get off the internet, except for looking up your sign and watching my videos. But like, get off the internet and like stop killing people on the internet, because you really are adding to the noise.
Totally.
Yeah. You're not changing people's views. When people troll me and they're like, you're an idiot, Alyssa, you should never do astrology, I will still be here.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not, you can't, my dad doesn't like me. Like, your voice doesn't like mean anything. That's a joke I've told before, but it's true though. Like, if you're like, my dad's like, you shouldn't be doing this. This is awful. Okay.
Well, here I am.
Yeah. And that hurts the worst. The troll on the internet it's just like, come on, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But they think they're doing something.
Oh,
they do.
It's pretty funny.
It is. And so it's like, maybe add that to it too. It's like, can we like laugh, like bring some form of joy back to what this is?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
that was so much to take in.
Shit.
It's so, I seriously forgot we were podcasting for a second there. And I'm like feeling like I'm just watching your videos.
No, literally I feel like I'm like you're just YouTubing
mesmerized.
to me. It's amazing. Okay.
It just flows off. Like you're just so
natural.
Thank you.
You don't
really
even have to
like,
think about it. You're like, blah, blah, and this makes sense. It's like, it's amazing.
Thank you. That makes me feel good. I feel like I needed that today, so I will take that in and move it to my life. That actually like feels. Sometimes people will tell me something like, "You can do this, and this is what you should do," and I'm like, "Yeah, like I'll go home. That's good." And I'll walk away. I'm like, "That's nothing to do with me. That's not it at all." But like, I was just like excited because they were excited. But you told me that, and that it felt like something. Like a small spark that was meant to grow. And I feel like sometimes people will say things that it's just too much. It's too big at one time. You can't even unpack it. And because it's wrong. But what you told me that meant something, and I'm going to remember it forever. And it's going to build inside of my heart.
Sweet.
I love you. I'm so happy you're here now.
I'm super happy too.
Just everything you say just resonates with me so much. And like you put it in such a clear way. Yeah. And you're so confident.
And not in
like
an offensive, that turns me off. I don't want, it's like, you have this way of presenting things that's like truthful, but also still sensitive to the fact that this is people's lives you're fucking talking about. You know what I mean? And
thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel. Thank you.
Yeah, you're able to like ride that line of truth,
right?
But compassion,
totally.
at the same time,
which is hard to do.
Yeah, very hard to do.
Should we talk about our men?
Yeah, do we have like time for this?
Yeah, I think we do.
What time is it?
I have no idea.
Let's thank our last sponsors for the day, and we'll be right back.
And we'll talk about our men. Emails, laundries, groceries, the list goes on and on. There's a lot to do in life, but what should be at the top of your list? The answer is you. And this year, put yourself first with the help of Dipsea. Dipsea Stories is an app full of sexy audio stories, and now they even have brand new written stories. No matter who you're into or what turns you on, Dipsea helps bring the stories to life anytime, anywhere. Close your eyes and let yourself get lost in a world where only good things happen and pleasure is your only priority. Explore your fantasies in a safe, shame-free way. And I really want to emphasize shame-free. This app is so easy to use. It doesn't seem like creepy or shameful at all. It's really, really nice. It's very empowering, honestly, and I really recommend. There's hundreds of stories to choose from, and they release new content every single week, so there's always more to explore. And they also have wellness sessions to help you wind down and explore, and sleep sessions to help you drift off to slumber. I really like this app. It's fun to use on your own or with a partner. Really, you can't go wrong. And for listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/sesh. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/sesh. dipseastories.com/sesh.
I know we have gone through a lot. This is going to be a long episode, maybe our longest ever.
Yeah, maybe.
But those who are down for it are down for it. And I know you guys, there's going to be a lot of you who really enjoy.
So many people have asked about astrology, and we, like us two, are just not like well-versed enough by any means. So
I mean,
we had to wait until we had the queens. Queen's here.
Which Alyssa actually has clients. People go, you can go to her.
Yeah, we'll have all of her info below on how you can connect with her.
Thank you. You help a lot of people.
Yes. Okay, tell us about
your relationships.
Our compatibility.
So this is the number one thing people want to know. Like after people are like, what does it mean about me? Yeah. Like, who am I supposed to fall in love with? Yeah. And then it's like, what is my destiny? Yeah. It's like always love.
Of course.
Like first comes love.
That makes sense.
And then comes everything else.
Right.
And it's just weird. And actually, I want to say that I think it's really important because there's a while I would talk to people. I'd be like, stop asking me about love. Or like, I'd be like, oh, thank God you're asking me about your career because love is stupid. Like I was so like, just, and they're like, aren't you married with kids? And I'd be like, fuck everything. and I realized as soon as I like started to like get into like my own head and like, or my own understanding of me and what I was actually doing, I was just deflecting a lot because love is what we are made from or what we want to be born from. And we want to head back into love. And the most beautiful way of receiving love is through another person. And so having that connection to another person is like really, really beautiful. And we want to make sure that we did the right way, like the right one. The thing with Synastry is that it can tell you a lot of things and it can tell you like where there are problems, but it can't necessarily tell you, everything. And it can't tell you what your heart is there or your soul.
Well, because I feel like there's a lot of people who, like, if you look at their charts, they wouldn't necessarily like those signs aren't compatible, but they're wonderful together or vice versa. Like on paper, it should work perfectly, but it's not. And so,
yeah, it's like there's some things that happen between like really good charts where a lot of manipulation takes place. And that has to do with the individual. Like two people could be perfect together, but if this person can't love this person because they can't love anything, then they're just going to be manipulating that person to give to them. And you're going to have one bleeding heart and one black hole sucking from them. And that has nothing to do with their charts together. It's because you're looking at this very damaged person who hasn't done anything.
Right.
And you can see a little bit of like that in your life, though, when you are looking at this. Like, is this a karmic relationship? Are you in one of those soul-sucking relationships right now? Because the universe does know. However, it's like you still have to go through it. Like you're still... It's your growth, right? So it's like, even if I were to tell you like, hey, this could be karmic, like I'm not even going to tell anybody. Like I'm like, okay, if I see something, I'm like, whoo, what parts do you want? What, like the good, the bad, like the ugly, just the good, all of it?
Yeah. Just lay it on me.
Okay. So Josh is a Scorpio rising, which means his descendant is in Taurus. Okay. He's looking for a Taurus to complete him. You are a new moon Taurus. That means your moon and your sun are in Taurus. Your sun conjuncts his descendant. Like he's looking for someone like you. The bad part about this that can happen is because, like I said, if you haven't integrated your shadow with the 7th house, you rely on your partner to pick up the slack in that area. So since you are super Taurus, he's Taurus moon too, but it's not as close to his descendant. He can possibly rely on you too much to pick up his slack if he doesn't want to. But if he's integrated himself and he understands his own Taurus qualities are good as well, then he is even with you. He's energetically the same and you're feeding into each other nicely. So it can be a really nice thing or it can be a really bad thing.
Okay.
Which you see, because it's like Sun conjunct descendant. It's like you were going to be together. Like there was always that possibility in your lives because he wanted you. Like that's the thing. Like when he saw you, he wanted you. That's the descendant Sun thing. It's like, that will be the mother of my children. And look at, he locked that down. Like that's what he wanted. But it's like, does he have what it takes to keep it going? Because he can heal himself and also give it to you. That's the parts you look into the rest of the chart. And he has Sun, Jupiter, Mercury in Virgo. Oh my God.
He's so Virgo.
He's so Virgo.
He's very Virgo-y.
Oh my God. Yeah. And you have a lot of like beautiful trines to that. Like it trines your IC, like your home life. Like there's a lot of like stability that you get from him. He's able to analyze things that you don't want to even touch.
Yes.
Yeah. And he can take care of those little nitty.
Totally.
Yeah. And you're just like, thank God. Does he do your taxes? I just want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. I fucking hate taxes.
Yeah, I don't do anything like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. See, so he's like, he really picks up that and you pick up the other part. It's actually like, you pick up the money part. Like there's a big, you have a lot of abundance in your chart, a lot of money making capabilities, just naturally. And in his chart, he knows what to do with money.
That's really accurate.
So it's like,
totally.
He actually, like, if he was on his own with Sagittarius in the second house, he'd be kind of like a vagabond, like roaming throughout the world, just kind of doing stuff, like being like, he could take $10 and make it last 2 weeks, like, and he would just be fine. And you kind of are like, well, that's not gonna happen. like we're not doing that. And he's like, okay. So he's able to roll with you. And that's kind of something you see there. Because anybody who would be willing to just roll with that can roll with somebody who's also doing something else, because this is also an adventure. He's just looking for that adventure. The money is not as important to him as the adventure is what it is.
Interesting.
And
that's really true.
You have Scorpio in the second, so money is actually, it's money is the anthem to success. As that's quoting Lana Del Rey. So it's important to you. So that's also something, because you're so a Taurus, he's a Taurus moon. He does see that completion with you. Like, this might be something that I should invest in, you know? And I'm getting a lot of energy, like for him, he looks at you as like this long-term investment, which isn't fully romantic because it's the Virgo energy and stuff. But he does have romance in him.
He does.
And he's got a Leo midheaven. He wants to express his romance on a public scale, but Chiron's there. I don't want to call him out, but like Chiron and Leo can make you feel like you don't have it in you to be like romantic, to be creative, to put your heart out there. And that is what his goal in life is to do. So he will be a late bloomer in being able to express himself in certain ways that he's still learning how even now.
Yeah.
In this way, you have like a wound, but his is a very public scale like wound and something much more like giving to you. And yours is like, you really didn't have a choice. You had to face your wound. That's what's happening here. And he sees that, and you're not necessarily, you're sweet with him because you're not going to force him to face the wound in a fast way.
Yeah.
But you will force him to face the wound, and you have. Like that, you have to express yourself. You have to put yourself out. Because you knew, you're like, yeah, I just unconsciously went into it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that option, so you kind of lead him along. And that's like all that
makes a lot of sense.
All that's really important for growth, because relationships on top of love, like you have to have the love there because you're put together to grow and to become better and to become bigger and to add something to each other's lives. And so sometimes it's hard. No relationship is easy, but if the love is there, then it becomes easy right away. You go through that growth, and then 2 seconds later, you can have party time. And that's what all relationships should be like, because it's like, growing pains, that hurt, but I'm with you, I'm holding you, we're together.
Yeah.
Now we get to, let's go have a fun time right now. Let's enjoy this. Like every moment is important. And I'm getting a lot of like, you guys are good at finding these important moments. And you both have North Node in Sagittarius. They're just a little bit further. You guys are so close in age.
Yeah.
I only date old people.
Yeah, we're like 9 months apart.
Yeah. So a lot of your planets just conjunct, and it just depends on what hits like an angle. So your Pluto's like, he naturally has moon opposite Pluto, but he also has moon opposite your Pluto. In Synastry, that could be a problem. His moon is opposite your Pluto. There could be a lot of controlling issues, but he's already got that in his chart. So he's like, controls himself.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can almost see what he's doing and be like, oh, I'm not going to do that to you. You're going to do that to yourself. Like, I don't need to beat you up for this. You are beating yourself up for this.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, yeah. And it depends on if you were in your shadow, you could kick him while he's down, or you could not. And that's your choice within that relationship and how much you love him to like, hey, like, calm down. Like, we're fine. We're going to figure this out together. And that's what makes this relationship like work. He may not always say it, and he should say it, but you're the most beautiful person in the world to him.
Oh, it's so cute.
He does say it.
He does say good.
Yeah. I'm lucky.
Cute.
Yeah. No, he wanted to lock you down, and he did.
He always says that too. That's so funny.
And he gets to look at you all the time, and that makes him really happy. I get this like feeling that like your face really lights him up. Like kind of makes him high.
So cute.
His face lights me up.
I love
You know, it's funny. Like, we met when we were like 17, and he started telling me in the first couple of months, like, what our whole future was going to be like. And he would like, it's kind of cheesy, but he used to like tell me a story every night on the phone, like while we were in high school. And he would tell me about like, here's our future house and our kids and like so yeah, it was kind of like, we kind of were married as soon as we met. That's how it felt. Like, it was just, but yeah, that's
I love it
really
so much.
spot on.
There's a lot of like speaking love into existence that is so important. And a lot of people are so broken, they refuse to do that. And so they're embarrassed of it. Like it is like, it's so cheesy. It's not cheesy. It's beautiful. It's like, I look at you and I see like, what is that in your eyes? Lloyd Dobler, the Peter Gabriel song. In your eyes, I see the lights of 1,000 churches. In your eyes, like all that. He's just holding the boombox over his head.
Yeah.
That's the way people should express themselves, because that initial reaction, that heart reaction, if you should say it, speak it into existence. And when you do, you can make it happen. And that's why you can have beautiful love stories. But when you shut it off for whatever reason,
right,
that's when you got like the one who got away, the one who never, like, who broke your heart because you never got far enough into it, or the one who's always on your mind for the last 10 years because you feel something incomplete because you never told them what was you were feeling. And so he told you what he was feeling. I can't even talk. It's making me all jittery. I love it. So he told you, and
he did,
and you didn't, like, you received it, and you didn't mind, and you loved it.
I loved it,
and you mirrored it back
I ate
to
that
him.
shit up.
Yes, and you mirrored it back, and then you too. That's the 11 in Aquarius too. You mirrored it back to him. Like, he holds you in the palm of his hand, like you are his holy grail, and you mirror him back, and that's the beauty of it. We're looking for somebody who mirrors our greatest qualities and
makes total sense
back to us. Yeah. That's why when you're not with somebody who does that for you, who's different from you, you tend to hold it all in, which is why everyone talks about like, this is a narcissist. It's like, I think about that a lot. I'm like, sometimes you're just with somebody who just doesn't fucking like you, and you can't really, you can diagnose them as a million things, but the real one is, you don't love me, you don't like me, and you're pretending you do for whatever fucking reason. Just go.
Yeah.
And why would you string me along like this? That's your major malfunction, because no one with a heart would do that. Oh, maybe you don't have a heart. Maybe narcissism is real. And around full circle.
It's a little real.
Yeah.
There's definitely times where it's real out there, yeah.
But if someone saw you and it was like, you mirror these back to me. Like, we can do things together. We can beat this together because we're going to be on the same page.
It's kind of how we see.
And I see that you guys do mirror each other. You guys have like,
we do.
I like it.
We always like to say we're the like male and female versions of each other.
See, that's exactly what love should be. I mean, in a way, because it's like, that also means that you fully are learning to love yourself through loving them.
Oh, yeah. Yes. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. Because we're all wounded. We're never going to fully heal until we're dead.
Right.
But it's much more fun to heal with somebody else.
Yeah.
We're not wounded alone, so we do not heal alone.
I feel that he's been a huge part of my healing, and I've been a huge part of his. So,
That's beautiful.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
My gosh.
Oh, it's so cute. I love that.
It's crazy how spot on this stuff is.
Astrology is amazing.
It is.
Just like,
it really is.
It's really cool. It's like when everybody knows it and the computers start to figure it out, and they can just like, when a computer can just start reading charts and spit off facts to you.
Yes.
That's when you know we've like really evolved and moved on, because you'll just be like, here, print my little fact sheet out today, or like put this guy in. I got this guy's birth time, and it's like stay away. I don't know why I went to like a 1980s computer voice when like literally.
Let's hear John and Janelle.
Johnelle.
Okay.
Should
you tie the knot?
married?
Oh my God, what if you're like, no?
I know. Please don't say
sad.
that. I would be devastated too, but I know it's going to be.
Okay, so you have a similar thing. 'Cause you're similar in age, so you both are going to Saturn return at the same time.
Age.
And your Saturns are conjunct actually, so you have a lot of the same karma, a lot of the same issues that you're dealing with. His fall in the 12th, yours fall in the 7th, which yours are relational. His are about unconditional love. They really do align a lot. Like a lot of your issues like do mirror each other. Your issues mirror each other. That's what we got so far. When it comes to John, he might have a hard time, like you have a hard time believing in marriage. He has a hard time in believing that you could ever love something unconditionally and forever, that could possibly exist, that possibly love is all conditional. And he might not be consciously aware of that, which is the thing. I'm not going to call him out on that. But like a lot of people don't know this actually. And we're going to be dealing this with a lot. When you go through your Saturn return, you're going to see a lot of people dealing with unconditional love because that's Pisces energy. His Saturn happens to be in the 12th in Pisces. He's not even here. I'm not talking about his trauma or anything, but like when it comes to love, like what we think is unconditional love is actually, or like real love is actually conditional. And what that is that you can see it the easiest with an anger. Somebody that's supposed to love you gets really angry at you. And then they call you a name and they say mean things to you. And then you're crying. And then they walk away. And then they don't want to talk about it anymore. And then you're left reeling from what just happened. A lot of parents treat their kids that way. They think they have unconditional love for them, but they don't.
That's interesting.
So when we grow up and we start to try to like look for relationships or whatever, if we're conditioned that love is conditional, like that, we will look for people who yell at us, hurt us, say mean things, maybe even not yell at us. Maybe it just starts off with like your hair looks stupid like that. You're really going to go out with that? And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go change it. Yeah, go change it. And then you go out and then you're like, why do I feel hurt? Why would someone who loves me unconditionally say it like that? Because they don't fucking love you unconditionally. They love you conditionally. They love you when your hair is in place or when you're working hard enough or when you're doing the right things that they, according to them.
Yeah.
And the conditional love is what breaks down marriages. And you're both dealing with that. Yours is very specifically in the area of marriage. His is very specifically just the idea of unconditional love in general.
That's interesting. Because I feel like if it's anything, I would be the one that has the issues of like those like digs that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Whereas he, as far as I've experienced, he's very like, I don't give a fuck. You can do whatever you want, and that's all that I care about. And it's very like, he's like the least controlling person. Well, because I would freak the fuck out if someone tried to like tell me what to do. So
it could be that, because his is in the 12th house. That's just something that he is blocking in and of himself, is that he won't even allow himself to express things in fear of losing somebody's love. Like if he was like, oh my God, Janelle, I don't like that you do this. He might be desperately afraid that you'd be like, fuck you, and walk away forever because he's worried that you don't have that. And that's more of like what I was saying with him is like, he doesn't trust that there is anybody in the world that loves him unconditionally. He's never seen it. So he will hold himself back from expressing himself in order to not have to experience the truth of that. He's allowing himself to turn a blind eye to know the real feelings of anybody around him, not just you, like just anybody. Like, so it's like, I'll just roll that off my shoulders. But eventually what happens is I have things to say.
Sure.
I want to express myself in this way. I want to say I don't like this, or this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
But if I say that, you might run out. Or you might hate me, or you might not be my friend, or you might not be my mom.
I don't want to throw him on the bus, but I can definitely see how that would apply to certain relationships in his life.
So it's not necessarily you. And I feel like because you have Saturn conjunct Saturn in that area, it's like you guys are very good for each other in the healing department of that, and understanding and recognizing maybe a push-pull in that regard. But it's definitely really strong. It's just that Pisces is very unconscious. And so I'm kind of telling you something too that you're like, okay, that's a little bit, it's going to be a really big deal in a year. I just feel like, and like I said earlier, like, getting married, there might be things that you realize, oh, we need to work these things out. I thought that we had 10 years and everything was working. You're like, if we're going to make this work, these things are now These are like ghosts that are phantoms like up in the surface.
Okay.
And that's why it's always that if you get married before your Saturn return, when you have Saturn in the 7th, it ends in divorce because you're like, wait, I'm learning new things that I didn't even know.
Everyone then?
Everyone with Saturn in the 7th, yeah.
Okay.
Which is what you have. So it's just one of those things I would say like, don't do it. Anyway, not to like beat that. I don't know why like that Pisces Saturn thing is like really getting me in your chart. That read it in his as well.
Interesting.
I think I'm more like just, it's probably not as much on me being like zoned in on that with you, but how it's happening in a year and how everybody's going to be dealing with this, like this thing.
Sure.
Everywhere. And that's going to be really kind of freaky. There's going to be a lot of divorces.
Oh, great.
But this year's is already a lot of divorces.
I was going to say, I feel like it's getting worse and worse.
It's worse. Yeah. It's going to
be worse and worse and worse.
It's like rapture energy. You know, they say like the rapture is really just two people are laying in a bed. A man wakes up, his wife is gone. That doesn't mean that he rose up to heaven in a fucking stream of light. It means that she realized she fucking hated him and walked out. I don't, you know, like it's just like that day. And then the man is like, what happened? She must have beamed up. No, you've been treating her like shit for years and you didn't even want to look at yourself. So you have no idea why she left.
Interesting.
But everybody else knows why she left.
That's interesting.
That's what I think rapture energy is. If you want to know, like, because that's end of the world stuff.
Right.
And if a bunch of people are just splitting up, leaving, running away, like, I can't work at this job. And there's another part of it too, which is like two men are in the field. One of them shows up to work, the other one's gone. Because one of them's like, I'm not working in the fields anymore. You follow your own fields. I'm going to go get a YouTube channel. You know, like I'm saying? Like, it's just like going to be like that. Like, people are just waking up one day.
Totally. I can see that. I mean, I think a lot more people are like,
yeah, whoa, wife, I've been taking this for so long.
Totally.
Yeah. And that is the energy. And it's really going to be very profound when Saturn goes into Pisces. So the relationship energy of it, he's on the outside. His Mercury's on your IC. You guys communicate actually really well and really feisty. There's a lot of passion because his Mercury's on your IC, but there's also a lot of it because the Mercuries are square. Your Mars, his Mars is on your, there's a lot.
Oh, great. She's like,
There's a lot of challenge, a lot of anger, and a lot of passion within this, but you may not even realize how well you speak to each other. And I don't know how to explain that. You speak to each other without saying anything. That's what it is. But sometimes when you speak out loud, it can get things twisted. But you guys have like a telepathic communication. That's what I'm trying to get into.
I want to see that with you guys.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Our communication is, I would say it's like very good to almost to where it's like not too good, but I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it.
I feel like I'm looking at this and I'm like, you guys just like, I don't know, you vibe like very strongly, like in a vibrational, like I'm looking like that's what this chart looks like. It looks like vibration. And I want to say it like vibe. Like, it's just vibing because you got Jupiter on his moon. You bring out like there's like something that is just like coming out. It's like passion. Passion's like sex too. So I don't know if you're like sex, but I just feel like you guys gonna have a lot of fun in that department if you.
Sure.
Yeah, because vibration.
I guess I don't know shit about it, but that was what I was assuming.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not seeing you with them, but like looking at this chart, I'm like, okay. That's so funny. And that's like maybe the telepathic communication too. Like you don't need any safe words. You just know. You just know.
That is true. Yeah. I feel extremely safe with him in that department. Yeah. Like we're like on the same page for sure.
Yeah. There's actually like, you know what I'm looking at? This is why I'm like obsessed with your Saturns. That's your only problem. Like the Saturn thing is your only problem. And it's so unconscious. You wouldn't even like, it's something you both have to heal within yourselves. And once you do, you won't have to worry about the other one. You guys already vibe. You attacked life very similarly.
Yes.
And
very similarly.
Yes. And that's why sex and life are the same. You can tell a lot about someone how they have sex is how they attack life.
Our problems, like when there's an issue, it's like it's never like, well, I want to solve it this way. Well, I want to come at it this way. It's always like, you go, oh yeah, totally. I agree. Boom.
Yeah.
Like,
same page.
Very, very much so.
Yeah. No, it's really, you have these squares, but they're just like sex.
Oh my God.
It's making me blush.
Well, he's a Scorpio moon. So I feel like I feel like people always are like, Leos are just sexual. I'm not like some horn dog trying to like fuck every 5 seconds. I'm just, I mean, it's like, not to the point where she's like so uncomfortable.
She's like, I can see that you are though. Horn dog's written all over this chart.
Like whatever you want to say, whatever you're hiding behind that. I'm like,
Janelle, are you a freak in the sheets?
No, not to where like, I mean, I guess that's all relative, but no, not compared to what I feel like you would think of freak in the sheets is. No.
Maybe you haven't discovered that yet.
Yeah, maybe.
Need to get more.
Get a little more freaky.
Okay. Shit.
You have no idea the possibilities of this chart.
Oh my God. What does that mean?
Wow.
I don't know.
Spicy.
I can't. Sorry. This is really hot. I think my neck is getting bigger. It's like, this is so tight on my neck. My palms are sweaty too. Sorry. Like, I just look at enough charts that they just start to like look like people.
That's funny though, because I feel like we're not like on top of each other 24/7. Like when we're together, it's not like we're like.
When you do, is it like fireworks and crazy?
You don't have a codependent relationship, and you're used to seeing codependent relationships. By the way, what it is like people in codependent relationships are like very, very needy on each other and like really, really rest each other. You're not. So when you come together, it's like explosive, and then you can part and come back together.
True.
That's what makes great sex, because codependent relationships have a hard time having sex because they're so emotionally intertwined and toxic that you can't figure out what's going on and where you are, like where you start and the other person begins. But if you are separate, you can look at the other person and be like, well, I can do that to you. You know what I'm saying? So like sex is better in relationships that don't have a lot of codependent issues.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. And your biggest growth is like also going to heal people together. So like I would say like earlier, if I made you nervous about something, I think you just are going to go through a very strong period of growth where you realize something about marriage, about relationships, about your truth in this world, and it might redefine everything for you. And just wait for that redefinition to fully materialize inside of both of you. And it might take one of you longer than the other. You might happen at the same time.
Sure.
Whatever it is, just wait. And when it comes into being, you'll know. And you can just jump off that cliff.
So you're saying they should keep waiting.
Keep waiting. Just wait.
Kendall's going to fucking lose her mind.
I'm pissed.
Well, you could have like a fake wedding if you like want to have the wedding part. I don't know. Like people
like,
do that, right?
Why is it? So
No,
what really is the definition of like a wedding though? Because like we're not religious, so it has nothing to do with that. And so it's like it's signing a piece of paper. Is that what we should wait for?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, there's a marriage chart, and the marriage chart will have Saturn conjunct your Saturn, meaning forever that marriage that you contracted or spiritualized, whatever it is, it doesn't. The universe doesn't know the difference. If you're choosing to get married, it's saying, "Oh, this is what it is." It's basically putting Saturn right on your Saturns, or like leading up to your Saturn, which is saying that this marriage is going to have all this karma that you guys naturally experience in your everyday life, but tenfold now because it's on top of you.
And it's interesting because I feel like people are always like, "Oh, Sagittarius are fucking crazy," and Aries are, have that tendency too. I feel like a lot of people think Sagittarius are like nuts, but he is like, I'm way more nuts than he is by far. I'm the crazy one out of the two of us, for sure.
You know, it's funny because Nicole's an Aries rising, and I'm definitely crazier than Nicole. Because Aries risings aren't always crazy. A lot of times I think you have a lot of good stability and go in directive, because Aries is directive.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of good directive, you're going to go for that and block out the noise. I get really chaotic because I'm a Pisces rising, and there's no noise I want to block out. Like I said, when I was like, why did I run a marathon? Because my friend was like, do you want to do it? And I was like, okay.
Right.
And it's like, why did I get drunk all the time? You want to come out? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Because it's like, I got other things to do, but
it's interesting.
Tequila sounds good,
Tequila always sounds fucking good.
Oh my God. Is there tequila at that place? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. I'm sure. Yeah.
Get wasted on a Monday.
Yep. I'll just sit there sober.
Oh, sorry. I won't talk about alcohol around the pregnant.
No, you can drink in front of me. I like to live vicariously by letting other people
partake in the fun.
I am like an alcohol pusher though. Like, why are you not drinking?
Oh, that's me too.
Yeah,
I just want everyone to have fun.
Yeah, everyone should have fun, especially if I'm having fun. Right. And then it always gets to a point where I'm a few drinks in, and then I see why the sober person is not on my level, and I'm annoyed by it. Like it's just like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is what I was trying to avoid. I was 4 beers in and I was like, this was it, Nicole. This is why.
Oh my God.
Now you're tired and want to go to sleep and I'm
ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, 2 years. Got it.
2 years. Do you have any more questions?
Anything else that you're dying to tell us?
His destiny is to be in a very committed relationship. That's very important to him. That is a very destiny point, but also destiny does take a longer time to get to because there's a lot of things that you have to clear out first.
Totally.
So like your school was part of doing something before your destiny. Like,
well, that was a huge thing for both of us because he's been working towards a CPA for years. Like we went through today. We went through college.
Congratulations.
I know, I'm really happy for him. But yeah, we went through college. We went through grad school. He studied his ass off. He's worked his ass. It's always been like we need to get these things out of, and I think that's why for so long we've also been like holding off on marriage and stuff is because we have these like other things that we need. Yeah. We feel like we need to accomplish first before we can like mesh our lives in that way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's because you guys actually probably have this very, very weird, strange relationship where there's no codependency, even though everybody around you suffers from that. And you're both like, yeah, we got it. Like, seriously, it's this thing. Like, every single person has an issue with it in some way, shape, or form. And I didn't see it in your chart.
That's interesting.
And it's like, you guys both are just doing your own thing, building your own
things. And really do.
And that's why, like, when you get married, it is a choice, a conscious choice to really stop doing that.
Totally.
And to kind of merge together as like a kind of, I guess you could call it a power couple.
Yeah.
That's the energy of what marriage brings forth, because a marriage should help you within your purpose as well.
Sure.
And so every single relationship, marriage shouldn't be like one stay-at-home person and one. It should always be there. Otherwise, just be single.
Right. Okay.
Because you should be on the same plane and level. So if you guys are off level, it's not going to work when you come together in an actual like that version of you.
Right. Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah, maybe think about it that way. Maybe that was what I was supposed to tell you about it.
I feel like my brain's going to explode with information. I'm like a little
I'm going to get up for letting Nicole come up.
Yes.
Yes. And please check out Alyssa Sharpe.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Where can people find you?
Yes.
Where can people find you and what are
The
all
Divine
your platforms?
Venus.
Okay. I'm at the Divine Venus everywhere except for YouTube at Alyssa Sharpe. You can just type in Alyssa Sharpe or at the Divine Venus.
But still.
Yeah. In YouTube, TikTok, Instagram is where I post the most. I shit post the most. Okay. But if you want to find my videos and like go into the stuff that I know, definitely go onto YouTube. If you want quick little information, go on TikTok. And if you want to book a reading or something on your own, you can go to thedivinevenus.com.
Thank you
wonderful.
So much, Alyssa. Please come back.
Yes, please come back.
I will come back
so
every month. Just fly back here.
Our monthly reading. We need
a monthly reading.
You've got to come back.
Much.
You absolutely have to come back. I feel like there's so much more we could talk about. All right, guys. I know this is a super long episode, but we have another bonus guest today, Nicole Brenny, who her and I did a collab. She's coming on. Come on.
Wow, when did you
Nicole?
guys do your collab?
We did a collab in like 2017 or 16, something like that. So I feel like you were meant to be here. And so, we're going to do some fun things today. We have about 30 minutes.
Yes.
Until, we got to get out for our dinner reservation.
Pushed it back. We've been going for so long, but we really want to hear what you have to say.
So tell us, what is your specialty?
Yeah.
Okay.
In this world?
Yeah, you already know that I do like psychic work because I did a past life reading for you using cards. And then I also do astrology. So I'm like a card reader, astrologer, and a life coach. So a lot of kind of the stuff that I've been working on lately is more around life coaching because I do love the astrology stuff so much. And Alyssa and I just talk about astrology all day long when we're together. But then there does come a point when it's like, okay, I need to also like get in alignment with my inner compass. And I need to also like remove any kind of crutches. You know, I do the readings for people, but then I also take them into like a deeper level of empowerment and personal power, which people desperately need because so much in the world is constantly telling you like, you're not good enough, you suck, and you can't do anything. And like, don't take the leap of faith, you're dumb. Like all this kind of stuff that like we get at this precipice, this point at the edge of the cliff, we're like about ready to jump off because we know we can fly. And then someone's like, oh no, you can't fly. Actually, you belong on the ground. And then we're like, oh, okay, never mind. And we delay things. So it's like, even astrology can do that. Even astrology can do that because your chart is like, doesn't say like, are you actually going to work through that or not? Because that's our personal like divine, willpower if we want to do that work or not. So I like to take people from like also astrology, but then like bring them into this place of like, I don't know, like total spiritual power, which is really, really fun. I love astrology and I love the cards and all of that. But then I started to develop this technique called brain synthesis, which is kind of like, I don't know, basically like a streamlined way of getting people in touch with their intuition in like one session. So it's like actually what you really want. And it's not because somebody else was telling you that or because you listened to some, I don't know, coach or whatever that told you have to do this, but like what's actually truly within. And it's actually really beautiful because it comes up in a lot of symbolism and symbolic language and things like that. So yeah, that's what I do. And I'm also an artist and musician. So I kind of like bring that into my YouTube channel now. If you're a spiritually empowered person, your spiritual self comes out in every single thing that you do, not just like, oh yeah, I'm reading a chart or oh, I'm on this podcast. It's like, no, I bring my full self to everything I do. That's like what it means to be like spiritually empowered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's like, why would I hide all these other aspects of myself?
Absolutely.
You know, like if you want to be powerful, you have to like have that full alchemy within you and you never stop being in your authenticity. You never stop being in your power, like even for 1 second. It's just like, and you do that in your relationship too, which is why you have such a beautiful relationship.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's like trust, like you trust in life, you trust in love, you trust in that the universe will provide. So you're willing to go like into the unknown and into the shadow without even a flashlight because you're like, no, even if I can only see like 5 inches in front of me, I got this.
Yeah.
Is astrology and tarot related? Are they two separate entities that you're like bringing together?
So they're two separate entities. I also read playing cards, which the system that I use is called the Cards of Truth. And so I think we looked a little into that when we did your past life reading. But so that's kind of like a merger of card reading and astrology.
Okay.
And so they're not the same thing. Cards and astrology aren't, but they can be complementary and you can use them together. And basically that just allows more confluence or like more indicators that, okay, yeah, this is really going to happen.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, you're really on the right track. I do want to say something about you.
Okay.
Because we were just talking about how like you have this ability to trust in the unknown and you can have faith and all this stuff, which is why I think you have like been a trailblazer and you have created something out of like seemingly nothing. But that's because you're a queen of clubs, and a queen of clubs is a person that like basically your highest potential is to constantly be creating things and nurturing them and growing them.
Okay.
And you can nurture and grow like anything. Just like, I don't know, the archetype I always think of is like a painter that goes to her studio every day and she's always working on her paintings and like never stops. Like she's just waking up every morning working on her projects and making more and also being able to like manage and lead others, but not in like a I'm a king and like, oh yeah, get this done kind of way, which is like kind of how women are told to be.
Yeah.
But more like an inspired feminine kind of way.
Encouraging.
Yes. Encouraging and like just like with excited passion, but not like, oh, I'm like a boss babe bitch and blah, blah, blah,
Do you see me as a boss babe bitch?
Not boss babe, boss bitch. We don't like the term boss babe. We think it's a little cringe.
Right.
You are boss bitch though.
So the reason why I think that you have had such success with like being able to like jump off the cliff or whatever, which seems to be like the theme. Like it seems like everyone that's been in this room today is like at this precipice of like, I have to take this huge risk and am I going to do it? Because we're all going to the next level. Like I can feel it. We're all like going to this next
to ascend
echelon. Yes.
Hell yeah.
We're
Love
all
to
doing
hear
that, right?
That's great.
But like why you've had success with it already is for one, you have a lot of fool energy in you, as Alyssa was saying, because Alyssa is actually the fool. She's a 7 of diamonds. So she's like literally the personification of the fool energy. Your first house of your astrology chart or your ascendant is in that energy. So that's like a huge part of who you are too. You're like, I just trust in life and I'll go in this direction, even though like no one's saying that there's going to be a reward or no one's saying to me that it's going to work out. So it's like you've had to really like trust in life and like be willing to make a whole huge fool of yourself in order to just be you and to live your path. But the path that you're walking in life is the 9 of spades. And when you use this 9 of spades energy and you live this 9 of spades energy, you can have more success, you can make more money, you can have more happiness, you can fulfill your purpose. And what that means for you is 9 of spades is trusting yourself and not needing external guidance. Like you trust yourself, you go within, you like take that time to be like, okay, actually, what's the right move for my business? Or what's the right move for my relationship? And like, even if you get external opinions or you get an astrology reading or your friends tell you something, like ultimately, when you're in your best energy and you are being like really 100% Kendall Rae, you're like, you're your own authority always. And you're not doubting your authority, and you're just like, no, I have my intuition and I'm going to follow it. And that's like why you have been able to take these like bigger risks. And that's why when you aren't trusting that, things really start to fall apart fast.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yep. How do you get a card for something? Because I remember now you told me that same card before when we did that. So it's set, it's predetermined, or is it based on your birth information?
Yeah, so that is kind of the way that this card system is linked, because I do cards of truth and tarot, which like any kind of tarot deck I can read, but it's your birth date, time, and location, and we choose like the day if like you're in between 2 days by the time of the sunrise.
Okay.
So it's actually really, even in a way, like crazier than astrology, because I can like, you can predict like actual people, like literally.
Wow.
So I could be like, oh, it's actually Johnelle that is going to be in the studio that day, because she probably will reschedule because I don't see her on Monday, but I see her on Wednesday.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow.
It's really creepy. Like I've been able to predict like breakups, falling in love, like when I would fight with my boyfriend, like who I would be dating that year based off of like, if I have like 4 different people I'm interested in and they all have different birth cards, well, which birth card's showing up in my Venus position or my Jupiter position? Because that's probably going to be the one that I'm like going to fall in love with. Like you can, so it's not like, I can just predict that I'm falling in love, but like with who?
Isn't
that insane?
That is.
It's actually like.
So you have clients and you do readings for them.
Yeah.
So they'll come to you with like a question, wondering about their relationship or something with their job, and you give them a reading based on cards of truth.
Yeah, I actually do something called diamond reading, use the cards of truth, astrology, and tarot. Plus like, you know, like I've got like the psychic thing too. So like sometimes I'll see an omen or I'll have a dream or something, and then I'll be able to like bring that all together into like a very cohesive message, because all these systems will be pointing in the same direction. Then maybe I'll also get a sign or a dream. And so it's like very clear. But yeah, it is like honestly a mind-blowing system. And it's really cool because like I look at each individual card, like the 5 of clubs or the Queen of clubs.
Sure.
And there's always like a lesson, like a life lesson that each card represents. And so
really,
you can use the system too to be like, oh, I'm struggling in my life right now or something's not working out. Well, what card are you running? Which means like what lesson are you learning? So because I do coaching and I'm like helping people to like become more empowered and to trust their intuition, like then I actually like have like an idea of, well, actually what lesson is this person trying to learn and trying to go through? Okay, so you both have 9 energies. So like you probably really work well together because 9s are like kind of hermits. Like you're the hermit card.
We are kind of
Oh my God, we're such hermity fucks. Like, dude, we could literally like, we always joke like we could like live in a house just us two by ourselves.
We
and
probably
like,
will
never talk
in
to
old age. We'll end up together
and never see each other. So you would like to be a hermit so that you can just like literally do nothing and like stare at a wall or like just
sounds so
like
awesome.
zone out. But you, nice. With your solitude, you're more like you kind of get a creative spark, or you like to think about things and mull things over, or you like to do your little hobbies and stuff. Like you just like, okay, leave me alone because I just want to think about something, or I just want to be alone in
Kardashians.
Like it's more.
I just want to watch reruns of reality TV.
So, but that's your power. Like your power is to be somebody that is really strong on your own, so that you can create whatever it is that you want to create. Like you could be like that archetype of like someone that goes alone to the cabin in the woods and like comes out with a book, or comes out with like some crazy business idea, or like
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting because you also, as your sun card, you have her path card. So your sun card is the 9 of spades. So you also have like naturally, as a part of who you are, that same ability to like trust yourself and trust your intuition.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot going on beneath the surface with you, and what is going to bring you the most success and make you the happiest and bring all the good things that you want to experience into your lifetime is by putting energy into the skills that you have that give you the most joy. When you're doing things that like actually don't bring you joy, that actually don't make you happy, when you're creating tangible things that aren't really like in the fullness of your heart, you start to destroy your life, and you start to make less money, have less prosperity on every single level. And I love it that you said like you took that leap of faith.
Yeah.
Because your Rahu or your North Node, or like how your soul is trying to like stretch you into like this evolved version of yourself is the Jack of Spades, which is the card of taking risks. And so like for you, taking a risk is even more terrifying and a crazier sort of thing than for most people. Like it's actually like way more horrifying because Rahu is where our fear is. By taking that leap of faith, you did way more than just like get a better career for yourself and a better lifestyle. You actually like evolved as a soul, and you're going to continuously have to do that. Like there's going to be endless layers of that, and it's going to allow you to be so much more creative. The Nine of Clubs is the card of integrity. Like that is virtue and integrity. So like you are never going to be who you truly are and your true authentic self if you're not doing what makes you happy, like tangibly, not just like in your head.
Yeah, that I don't like doing shit I don't like to do.
Yeah. And it is different than authenticity. Integrity is really like deeper because authenticity is like kind of like what we present, but integrity is like you really can't do anything outside of like the alignment. Like you can't take a job that is like against your ethical beliefs. Like
absolutely not.
Like you just can't. And so it's really simple though. Like your path is fun. You just do what you love and you'll be rewarded.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Seems like you need to do some self like discovery.
Growing up, I didn't really think of myself as a creative person.
You are.
The fact that you had a master's degree, that is Nine of Clubs energy. Like that really is. And I think that as long as you're doing like using your tangible skills that you actually enjoy, you're fine. And I think one thing that we all as humans like get caught up in is we think like, oh, now that I don't want to be a counselor anymore, that was stupid. And like, I was so wrong. Like, how could I be so wrong? I can't believe I made that mistake. But it's like, when we were doing it, it wasn't a mistake. Like when we were doing it, we were so excited about it.
Yeah.
So
the only mistake was getting into debt and taking out a loan. But like, I mean, as far as that, I've never
a mistake.
No. And I'm glad it was in counseling versus like, no offense to John, but accounting or something. Like, I feel like I still feel like that was a very useful time in my life. And never once have I thought like, oh, that was wasteful or, oh, I could never see myself doing that now. I just feel like perhaps it's using that in a way that wasn't like I didn't traditionally think I would.
Yeah.
And I do want to tell you before I forget, you have your ascendant and your ecliptic in the same card. So you absolutely 100% can do your passion as a way to make money. Like, you don't ever have to question that. Like, that's just like a promise of yours.
God, cards of truth. This is really interesting. I feel like I need my own like private reading.
Yeah, totally.
No, I would love to. Yeah,
that would be awesome. Can we do some tarot today too?
I was thinking
while we have a little bit of time. I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
all the things right now.
What do you guys want to know? And I also like do feel we're like in a very powerful kind of crazy energy right now, like in this room.
That's interesting. Maybe it's all the fucking cameras.
No, it definitely isn't. Okay, so yeah.
Do you do it together? Like, do we ask together, or is it one-on-one?
Do you have like a shared question, or do you each have a personal question you want to ask?
I'm kind of curious about the future of this show.
Ooh, yeah, it's a great idea.
How many cards do you normally pull?
I'm quite intuitive with it, but for this, I will probably pull 3. Future of this show, right?
Yes.
You guys, that's the Hermit I just told you about.
Oh, that's so weird.
Okay, I'm not going to necessarily read these fully as reversed, but I think that you are going to realize where you have been like maybe following the path of like what will be actually successful and make us money versus like what it is that we actually want and what it is that we're actually passionate about. And I think like these 3 cards are actually posing like the problem. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this show or whatever, but I think your next level is because like you guys are smart business women. So it's like, okay, what can we do that's like going to bring an audience or bring a crowd or make us money? So like obviously that's just like a natural first instinct. But I think the next evolution of this show is very exciting because it's like more of like your own personal, like your real like personal needs. Like what do you need out of it? And then like what are you excited about? Like that's going to be the thing that changes it. Like being like just being like we're not going to even think about like numbers. We're not going to think about like this as a business. Like we're actually just going to have fun. Like just like literally even like crazy. Like this is like
I feel like we've gotten more so down that path as the show's gone on.
Definitely.
Like we've definitely been like more like before we were more a little bit more reserved or more like calculated on what what we wanted the show to be or what each episode, and a lot more nowadays we've been kind of like, let's just see where it takes us, or like, fuck it, like we enjoy this part, so we're gonna keep going with it or whatever. And
it's gonna get crazier because you also have your nodes are exactly conjuncting your second and your eighth cusp, and I just realized that that's what this is. So second cusp is like money and value and everything, but eighth cusp is like, that's like sex, like that's like really like literally like the most intimate, like crazy passion, deep. Like I think you're just gonna bring something so primal and deep into this show that's like true to both of you, that is going to like transcend this like this business kind of mentality, but then it's also like gonna make you more money.
You can't hear Alyssa, but she just pulled a card. Maybe fifth house.
Maybe passion. It is like, but it is about your passion.
Stop it, that's crazy.
But you have to.
Well, she pulled the passion card, right?
Yeah, and that's what this is. So like it will be way deeper than you think, because like real sex isn't shallow. It also isn't just like, oh yeah, we kind of did it. It's like, no, like when I don't want to be too like when someone comes inside of you, it's like there's no going back, and that's like the point that you have to get.
Oh, we're taking off the protection on this bitch, raw dogging it.
No, that's literally
we have to raw dog the show.
It.
We have to raw dog.
Yeah, you guys are raw dogging the show. But all these are indicators of like. But I love that we got this because this is you guys. This is like the hermit. So like the hermit needs to come out of the room. You guys are going to reveal even more of yourselves, and I think it's going to be just amazing. I'm excited.
Wow. Damn, that's really cool to hear.
Reveal even more.
Get
ready, people.
Kendall and I are starting an OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's time to reveal ourselves.
Probably. That is kind of what it sounds like I'm saying.
That's
but
funny.
I think it's a little bit more metaphorical.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
We really need to open up and like explore passions in the show.
Yes. Like your real ones, not just like, oh, what will
less
people
manufactured.
Like? Yes.
Can you tell me like about my birth or anything like that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you're ready for that.
I am.
Okay.
I want to know.
Okay. This is like looking like the umbilical cord being cut. And actually, I think that's going to be a very, very powerful moment for you. And I think you're going to do it with your husband. Like you guys are going to like want to have that experience of like cutting the umbilical cord together, and just like, it's like the most powerful thing. And I think that you are going to be a little sad that like your baby's like not like in you.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be really hard for you to like kind of let go. And I think that way harder for you than your husband. So it's gonna be like this like really I don't know, really deeply emotional. There's something that's been making you feel so secure. Also, I think like a fear of like, okay, now this baby isn't inside of me. Now how can I protect my baby anymore
outside?
And I think what's going to happen that's very beautiful is this is an indicator with this Queen of Discs that like you are this huge nurturer. And I think you are going to have like all the vitamins. Like, you know how some women don't have their milk come in and they really struggle like that. I don't think that's going to be a problem for you to provide for your child.
Really?
Yeah, and I think as you start to feed your child from your own body, and as you start to nurture your child with your body, and as your baby having its own body, like that trust that like you can take care of your baby is going to like grow over time, but you're going to need a lot of support, because I do think there's like this like irrational kind of fear, like now that we're not connected, like maybe like you, I don't know, like you trusted your body like and the process more than like yourself to like care for this beautiful
That's
child.
Spot on. Yeah.
But you have the ability and the nurturance, and definitely if you just keep on track with like how you're nourishing your body, like there should be no problems with like milk production, and like you will grow like as you feed your baby, and your milk like makes the baby grow. Like that's going to be just like a like mind-blowing thing for you, and you're gonna be like, oh, wait, I got this, you know.
Kind of give you that confidence. Yeah.
You can always get pregnant again, and then you can have that feeling again.
So it's like the separation.
Yeah, you're like, and also like you've gotten like there's like comfort there for you too. For some
there
reason
is
of having this like soul like with you at all times.
There is. It's like my best friend's like. Oh, thank you.
Oh, really?
Seriously though, I mean, it really does feel like magical carrying like another person who's gonna be like your little best friend. So yeah, the idea of her like coming out is kind of
my mind is blown.
A little scary.
And you're gonna just also develop a much healthier and better and like powerful relationship with your body, like seeing your body as this very like powerful magical thing. And I think you're going to like really love your body more than you ever have. But it will grow.
That's good to know.
It's gonna grow as you like are like, oh my gosh, my body's feeding this. Like I think really, there's like something that's just like,
it's
beautiful.
Wow,
that's so cool.
Oh, this made me excited.
Wow.
I'm really excited.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you
That was
so
really cool.
much.
Yeah,
This
of
is
course.
I've never had a tarot spread, like a legitimate one.
Are you serious?
Same.
Unless I forgot about it, I'm pretty sure I haven't.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah, that
thank
was
you for
so
the
cool.
opportunity to like read in that way.
Of
for you.
course. Thank you for the opportunity of having you here. I mean, this has been so awesome. This episode, I'm like totally mind blown.
Me too.
Like you guys have just read us to filth here. For real. I mean, wow.
So cool.
Wow.
I can't wait to go back and rewatch this and like
yeah, me too.
reabsorb things. Because I
yes.
feel like a lot of it like went over my head almost.
Yeah.
I was trying to be like,
There was a lot. There was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
This was
this
fantastic.
was awesome.
So how can people find you
Yes.
and book readings with you?
My website is NicoleBrenny.com. I have the diamond reading. And if you're like, I don't know, I'm like scared of this stuff, then I have like a little mini reading. It's called The Sacred Seed. So that one's good. And I also do offer like long-term coaching. Like we can work together and like get you to that point. And I'm like right there with you. So there's that. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/listen to the stars.
Oh, cool.
okay.
Yeah. And then I'm on Instagram at Nicole_Brenny.
And that's
Okay.
BRENNY.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
And NY.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, thank you both for
Yes.
coming on today. This was so fantastic and
So cool.
really interesting. I think our viewers are going to find this stuff
Yeah.
just really moving,
Fascinating.
honestly. Yeah, fascinating, moving. And I think people will be inspired by a lot of the things that you guys said.
Absolutely.
Even though they were more directed towards us, I think people will be able to pull things and
Totally.
it will.
We talked about so many
Yeah.
different signs
Yeah.
and everything, and
Yeah.
especially like Age of Aquarius and everything that's going on there. And
Mhm.
yeah, there's definitely a lot to take from this
Yeah,
episode.
you guys come back anytime.
Yes.
Seriously.
Oh,
You just let
please.
us know.
Yeah, let us know.
serious.
We will always make room. We are so
Yeah.
stoked.
We might need like a weekly segment or something.
Oh, that would be fun. No, we
Oh.
seriously are in love with Denver, and we're like, oh, we need to come back all the time.
Please come
Denver's
back.
pretty cool.
Literally whenever.
All right, that's going to be it
That
for
is
today's sesh, the
it.
longest episode we've ever done.
And the
Hope
sesh,
you guys
you heard it here
enjoyed that.
first. We're raw dogging it coming up.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Get ready. It's
and
going to get
we'll
raw.
See you in the next sesh. But until then, keep it fresh.